You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer.
Good morning and welcome in. Happy Tuesday. It is Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer and Mike Schaefer and Jake Janasek.
Yep, no cup of Joe this morning.
Hi, Jake.
Joe.
What is going on? Why does everything sound weird?
I don't know. It sounds better now. Obviously, your microphone turned on, but I watched you multiple times attempt to turn it on.
Yeah.
I hate that microphone. I hate the whole setup over there on the
Wow, stay away. Stay away from my
sometimes
domain.
I have to be there, like when you're in Vegas covering the Crown.
That's actually not true. You could be right there. You could
Well, now, if there's a guest co-host, then I can't
put them right
also be.
here.
Yeah, but then they have to mess with the dumb microphone.
That's true.
So,
You
I
have
might
the
as well
power.
just wear the burden and cry about it later. That's how I feel.
You
about
have the
life.
power and the responsibility to be able to say, no, you sit right there and you deal with this.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a fair thing for them to have to deal with.
I like it. I don't mind the situation and the setup over here, but
Yeah, you rarely sat over here.
my buttons don't work, and if something sounds like weird in my head. Is the same for you?
It's a dangerous question to ask me about sound. So
I don't know what's going on. It's really not that bothersome, but it just sounds ever so slightly
Slightly off.
different. Jake is here this morning. Jake is
Yes.
going to be keeping us company for the next couple days and making sure everything stays on track.
I'll try my best.
While Joey is out. He's out. So we're excited. Jake, welcome to your first Happer and Schaefer
I know. I'm
experience.
excited to be here.
This-
Already a fun time.
This is the first show that Joey has missed.
yeah, I was just thinking that we've each missed a couple.
And I believe we've recently passed over some sort of threshold that only Joey knows about as far as the amount of shows.
No,
we've
we're
done.
coming up on the 100th show.
Oh.
I think.
Okay.
I think that's what. I don't know. I don't want to go back and.
I
count
feel like we
where
were
we're
just
at.
doing episode 69 recently.
Yeah, well, I mean, that could have been 31 shows ago.
No,
for
it
all we
wasn't
know.
31 shows ago.
Why hope it's just Joey? That's
I
part
don't
of the
remember
100th show.
episode 69. Did we celebrate it in some way?
Joey proudly proclaimed it
Yeah.
after one of the episodes. He's like, we just did episode 69.
We really there's a lot we don't know when the institutional knowledge base of the show leaves
That is true.
for a week.
That is true. Look
So-
at us floundering out here. But welcome to a Tuesday show, everybody. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Jake Janasek with you today. Coming up on the show, Mitch Sherman will join us at 8:30. Jacob Dill will join us at 9:15. That is our lineup this morning. And we would love to hear from you all. Please help keep us company. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. You could call or text that number. You could tweet at Happen Schaefer, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. You can email Connor or Mike at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to our YouTube streamers this morning who always say good morning back. I have a text that we received on the text line overnight.
Oh, a pretext?
It's like a voicemail, but a text form. But
This is what I want to do with the night show. I want them to leave us a message that we play in the morning.
Yeah,
We have no idea what it is, and then we get to react to it.
but I don't know how. Like, they just talk into the microphone. Like,
Yeah, it's like leaving a voicemail.
do they do it over the air for
I mean,
them?
I guess they don't have to do it over the air.
Okay.
They can take the 2
See,
minutes to record.
But
it
I'm
before
thinking of the
show.
logistical issues with this. And the logistical issue is that they would never, 1 minute after the show ends, go over into the other studio
Is it possible they could
delay
do it?
their travels home by at least a minute?
Yeah, I know. Well, I've worked with Josh.
Yeah.
Josh is often out the door before the last person talks on what's for dinner.
Yes.
I've never seen someone jackrabbit out of a job faster than
Josh goes and gets his backpack like 2 segments early and make sure he's all, but like sometimes he'll be wearing his coat in the winter time in the last segment of the show.
I'm glad other people have picked this up.
Oh, I've noticed.
It's that man cannot.
I've noticed.
He can't fathom being here.
So what I'm saying is
the first number starts with a 6.
There is no way.
But that's why I'm saying they could record it. It would take like 2 minutes for them to record something on at 2, not 2 o'clock, but 1:47.
Maybe. Yeah, but then you don't have the show in your back pocket. You got to do it. You got to do it late. Also, I don't mind the idea of like a text or some sort of a running, like a notepad where you just write one little line on there every day and it just like is mounted right here.
I certainly don't hate that.
It would have coffee that got spilled all over.
Well, that's problem. If it's a physical thing, Matt will ruin it. So you have to
start pointing out all the flaws of our coworkers.
If we laminate it, what can we say about John? Then we can get everybody down and turn against each other. That's how this works.
John might trip over it and break his wrist or something. I don't know. It could be a hazard.
I was wondering if there's some sort of John handwriting thing that we could get into.
John has good handwriting.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume he'd have to. He's got to be able to work through everything he writes down in the scorebook.
Yeah.
But then he'd just need his own system. Doesn't mean anyone else would need it.
Either way, we could think about that. But we did receive a voicemail text, which is just a text, but it was left at 12:47 a.m.
I like it.
Are you ready for this?
Yes.
From the 402. Gentlemen, my son just woke me up in the middle of a dream. The dream? A man was commentating everyday situations that were annoying. There were many examples, but the one I can remember is someone was at a quote-unquote zoo, but apparently the way the zoo worked is that patrons sat in a box, think similar to a stadium suite, while the zoo exhibits rotated through. Makes sense? It's a dream after all. Someone watching this zoo show was also holding a giant, crazy weasel-type animal with insane claws, but for some reason was called a panda. The commentator said, "A wild panda does not get to sit in the box at the zoo." The commentator was none other than Connor Happer.
Whoa!
Using his "This is absurd" voice. Hope this text makes sense. I'm going back to bed now. Catch you in 5 hours.
I mean, the text makes sense. I can hear it in the "This is absurd" voice.
I don't know my "This is absurd" voice.
I almost
"This
hear
is
it
absurd"
in a like. This is Connor Happer for decorum.
A wild panda does not get to sit in the box at the zoo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically. Yeah.
Oh, sorry for just recreating your dream. So I love this idea even more. As you may know, I have Dream Journal.
Yeah.
And
Now, when's the last time you logged something?
Great question. I love when people ask me that. I could find out. It's been at least a little while. I would have to go. You would have to give me a moment here.
Okay, you can do it during the break.
I did find it.
Okay.
I did find it. I don't know when the last time I logged this, but I think I have said this out loud before. There was one about. I'll just read it again. I was in jail with an orange jumpsuit and went out to play a baseball game on a baseball field, and there was another baseball field on top of a small ledge in the outfield that Nebraska baseball was practicing on. I was shagging balls in the outfield, and Jose Canseco came up and hit one all the way behind near the woods, and everyone yelled at me to not go get the ball, but I got it anyway, and then a monster was holding the ball, and I turned around. I had a dream about a scary monster.
Did the monster keep the ball or did he give you the ball?
Unclear. I woke up. Unclear. I was scared of the monster. I turned around and that was it.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable response.
I would think that the monster kept the ball. It seemed like the monster kept the ball.
Seems like everybody knew that there was going to be a monster and didn't want you to run into the monster.
I didn't stick around long enough to figure out if the monster wanted to keep the ball or was going to like do a heel turn and be nice, or be like do a nice turn,
a face turn,
a face turn, and be like, actually, I'm a good monster. I didn't really stick around to find out.
I think it's probably a smart decision on your part.
So if that ever happens to you, don't be afraid to text us day or night, email us day or night, and we will see these messages that have been left from the past, which I think for some reason, I love the immediacy of when we get text messages. They're great. Like the constant running commentary on our show is absolutely fantastic. But for some reason, it's slightly better when there's callbacks too, even if it's as much as like 3 hours ago.
Sure.
It's excellent. So send us those as much as you want.
I'd support this. I love the idea of us wandering in here and there's like a new message waiting for us.
Yeah.
Because it could be anything. It's
Yeah.
like getting a gift and not realizing you were going to get a gift. And then your brain, before you open the gift, is like, this could be anything. It'd be anything I want.
And all we leave for the rest of the shows is our college basketball crown media credential, and they sometimes choose to deny it.
I mean, we leave them 4 hours of content of which they could wade through and determine if there was anything they wanted to work off of there.
It's true.
I suppose.
We do set the tone that way.
I mean, we could be the ones to start leaving the messages, I suppose, or the written, I don't know how we would do it. We would need a sheet maybe it needs a cover, like, the cover page or something that you would put on.
Yeah.
So that way Matt can't spill on it.
Yeah. The problem is, like, unfortunately for Matt, it doesn't really involve him because we talk to Matt on a daily basis.
These are for the people we never talk
and Matt sees them. So yeah, we don't
He's
get
the
to
go-between.
We don't get to see
He's the
John,
former
Josh, and
Happer.
Nick. Every time I see Nick now, he's like, Happer, I miss you. And I'm like, well, I guess I haven't seen you in a while. That makes sense. We still
You never say I miss you back to Nick?
I do say I miss you back.
Okay. I was gonna say he would
50%
probably
of
take
the
a
time.
little offense to that.
About 50% of the time. From the YouTube, here is Mike. Jake, who is your NFL team? Jake's here. Time to quiz bowl Jake.
I
today.
like this. Yeah, learn about Jake.
Boy.
Jake's on the hot seat.
Well, I am a Chiefs fan.
Oh,
So you guys might hate me a little bit for that, but
I have no opinions on that.
you have no opinion?
No.
That's nice of you, Happer.
I mean, this would have annoyed me more prior to the start of their run, and at this
Yeah.
point, I just
I guess it's
assumed
good that we
90%
had a
of my
very bad
interactions were with
season.
Chiefs fans.
I just assume everyone breathing air around me is Chiefs
I mean, it's-
fans, and I'm automatically angered at them.
Well, and I think there's a higher ratio of it in Omaha than there would be in Lincoln. That's my assumption.
Why? I don't know that I disagree with you, but I want to know why you said
There's
that.
something about it. Omaha has always struck me as more Royals Chiefs based than Lincoln would be. I think Lincoln, because more people end up like.
There are definitely more. I mean, there are just more people in Omaha.
Well, there's more people in Omaha.
Yeah.
There's more people that live their entire life in Omaha. Lincoln is more of a transplanted thing where you come from. And not that Omaha doesn't have this either, but I think that Lincoln, because of the university.
No, I'm really thinking about it. I don't know. I don't know if you're right, and I don't know if you're wrong.
Yeah.
I can't come up with a great
Well, it's
argument.
just a theory. I can't prove that this has been tested in any way. shape,
Which
or form.
town?
It's just an anecdotal theory.
Which town has a greater concentration of Royals Chiefs guys? Is that what we're looking
Yeah,
for?
basically.
Now, what do I count as?
Well, it's
'Cause
Royals
I'm not a
or
Roy-
Chiefs. You don't have to be both.
Okay, just any
Yeah.
Kansas City sort of a sports affiliation.
Right.
Okay. All right. Which town has a greater percentage of their
And
population that is Royals or Chiefs guys?
just in like a sheer generality sense, Lincoln is slightly closer to Denver, which brings in a larger percentage of Broncos fans by a small margin.
That is a
I
good
also
point.
think most people that come from out west that go to, Nebraska, I don't think Omaha draws as many people from Western Nebraska for college that end up staying.
So by that logic, does Omaha get more NFC North pilled?
Probably, yeah.
I think it does.
Well, it
I
definitely,
think that's right.
because of how the television works here, they're
Yeah.
more likely to get
Yeah.
the
Well,
to
because
get the Vikings, Packers, Bears.
it's funny because when you cross the river over into Iowa, all of a sudden everyone's a Bears fan instantly.
Ooh,
Like
interesting.
Vikings
Vikings or Bears. I
well,
would say.
Vikings or Bears.
You don't see
Yes.
as many Packers fans in Iowa, which
But
fascinates me.
It's really crazy because I've known, and especially once you get like east of Des Moines, it's basically just Chicago,
Yeah, I can see that.
and we're like 2 hours away from it. But then you're saying west of Lincoln
Well,
is
it's
just
the same.
Denver.
It's north of Des Moines. It's the extension
Yeah.
of Minnesota.
So what is in between Lincoln and Des Moines, which Omaha sits directly in the middle
Right.
of? What is it? Nobody
An
knows.
amalgamation.
What is it? So this is a good straw poll and an argument that really no one will ever be.
Yeah,
able to
it's just an
find the answer
anecdotal
to.
theory. There's no argument really even. Like if someone really felt strongly on it, I'd be like, okay,
Calm down.
Calm down, buddy.
like
Calm
I'm
down.
not sure what you want to do here, but
Text from the 515. I just tuned in, and apparently there's a new young Jake. That's right. We have even younger Jake.
Younger Jake.
younger Jake.
What?
Younger
I
Jake.
wonder if maybe they're just confused because, like, I know John Bishop has called me Young Jake a lot. So
That's
maybe they
true.
think there's two different Jakes, but it's the same Jake.
Young Jake. We have young Jake and younger Jake. Well, it'll be good. You talk to. It's funny because we call Jake Sorensen young Jake because Sipple calls him young Jake, but Jake is older than me.
But then I think the afternoon show has just taken that bit and they call everyone young something.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Probably
it's
right.
young
Who's the
Matt.
other young Jake?
Well, but there's young Matt. There's young,
Yeah.
you know, it's just kind of what they do.
Yeah, that's good. I would do the same thing.
So
do the
it's
same thing.
I assume he's the only young Jake, but there's the
I
other
do
young
call
Jake.
him young Jake. I
that
do call Jake
exists.
Janicek young Jake.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
also call Jake Sorensen young Jake.
And if you're a listener of both stations, then that's a lot of young Jakes that aren't the same Jake.
Very, very confusing. All right, so there we go. Get to know young Jake.
Yes.
Younger
Jake.
today on the show. Elsewhere, we have many things to talk about. Why don't they just spend the money on NIL? People are wondering. We will talk about it. We have more stadium topics for today as well. The Big East needs a new commissioner at the end of August.
I vote for Tony Petiti.
Oh, no. What would happen? That would be terrible.
Tony Petiti would be pushing for the NCAA tournament to go to 100 in 2018.
That would be awful. That would be awful. I don't know what kind of names might pop out. I mean, the Big East seems like the kind of conference that sort of stays, quote unquote, in the family a little bit. Like you kind of have to know it. I imagine it sort of thinks of itself that way.
You said it like that, and I thought incestual. So
Maybe, yeah. Probably a little bit. So I wonder sort of which direction the Big East will go, and we could talk about what the conference might need. Tonight we have Nebraska-Kansas baseball blood feud, round 2.
is this televised anywhere?
It's on the ESPN Plus.
All right,
Ooh.
perfect.
ESPN Plus.
Utilize that for one.
It's
Besides
usable.
obviously watching you.
It is not the BTN Plus. It is the ESPN Plus. So get out your subscriptions and your passwords. Again, old people, get ready to plug them into your TVs. We will talk about Emmett Johnson as a draft prospect. It's draft week. The draft is in 2 days.
It is in 2 days.
Michael Severe finally got done with calling all the media members draft prospects yesterday.
Some of them I thought were a little more inspired than others.
He said that I am Chris Bell, a little rough around the edges, emotional, but looks the part. Happer and UDC.
Okay. How do you feel about this?
I feel fine about it.
All right.
I feel fine about it. Do you think I'm emotional?
Not like,
I
I
can
mean,
get-
you
I can get
can
it-
be,
I can get it going sometimes.
but you can also detach. So
That's true.
I don't know that I think that you're like, I mean, relative to say, Lincoln's young Jake, I don't think you're emotional. But I also don't think anybody particularly beating that.
Nobody's that emotional.
He is.
He is.
And that's why he's our friend.
What happens if 5 for 5 gets passed? Specifically for a Big East basketball player that made an announcement.
Did you know, was this
yesterday
like a known thing? I had missed this.
The
and then
solo
saw it.
ball?
Yeah.
that he was hurt?
Well, not that he was hurt, but that he was just going to miss all of next year.
No, that news just happened
Okay.
yesterday.
I was like, I didn't know when that had come out.
You hopped on it right at the right time.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
you got it.
I was like, whoa, this seems like a big deal.
Mike Schaefer up on all Big East news.
I'm trying. I
Um,
really want to appeal to their new commissioner.
I have no information on this, but Mike Schaefer wants to ask me a big picturesque football question.
Yes.
I don't know what that means.
Good.
I'm excited about it. How many minutes do you think the topic will take?
Could be an entire segment.
Like a big one?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of discussion that can come out of it.
Is it Husker football related?
It's Husker football, really.
All right, exciting. And then last night while I was watching the Royals die a painful death, I just collected all of the first round quarterbacks for the last 10 drafts, and I wanted to count how many playoff wins they all had and how many of them Patrick Mahomes was responsible for. The answer is a lot.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good percentage. And to also underscore the idea that it's a crapshoot, even if you're drafting a first-round quarterback. Now, everyone agrees that this season the quarterback class is not so good.
Better than that year that Kenny Pickett was the number one.
One first-round Kenny Pickett. There might be one first-round guy this year, and his name is Fernando.
But he's going to go many picks ahead of where Kenny Pickett was.
Yeah, he's going to go number one.
So the expectation is a little
But,
more.
Mike, he will play for the Raiders. So what career success will follow him? Probably very little.
We've learned anything.
Also, shout out to the College World Series for doing something that people want to do, at least for one day. We'll talk about that as we go on throughout the show today. Welcome, everyone, to a Tuesday show. We are glad you're with us. We, as always, want to hear from you all throughout the show today, and we'll take a break. We'll come back after this on 1620 The Zone.
A more summer-like day ahead for your Tuesday. Expect mostly sunny skies throughout the day with the southwest breeze. Highs in the upper 80s.
By the way, yes, it from Matthew on YouTube, he says, must be noted that young Jake has broken the multiple Mike fill-in streak. That is true. Jake is the first person to ever fill in for anyone on this show who isn't Mike S.
That's crazy.
It's a pretty wild streak. Now, the show hasn't been going on for that long, so it's not that impressive. But I suppose we could have got Stibbs to fill in to produce. That would have been really funny. But mostly we were kind of just talking about one of the hosts of the show has to be a Mike S at all times, which is in some cases there's been two.
Yep. You just double down. Like,
So I like to say that the streak is still alive.
Yeah, I think for the intended part of it,
we did cross over,
but a little
threshold.
piece of it came apart.
We did cross over a threshold today. By the way, our good friend Sam tweeted out speaking of tweets that got left for us. Sam left this at Happer and Schaefer before the show this morning. It was a Orioles tweet. One of my favorite factoids ever is from Rob Daniels because it is so odd. The Orioles have won 8 straight games in which they've been picked off multiple times. So put that in the Royals record book for this year. Starting with 1954, MLB teams have a winning record when being picked off 2 or more times, just over 50%. But that stat is still wild to me. Both of those stats are actually insane.
Yeah. I'm assuming
you get picked off 2 times. I mean, in a game, you got to think something's going pretty wrong.
Right. I assume part of that is that you've had multiple opportunities of being on base, guys leading off, stealing, aggressive. So, like, you have to have people on base, which usually pretends to being
you have to get on base to get picked off.
At the same time, those are 2 more outs. So it's not, not like you get anything from that guy being picked off at first.
Shout out to my beloved Kansas City Royals for allowing this to happen again last night. It was.
I feel real bad for Seth Lugo.
Thanks.
That guy
7 innings, 1 hit. He was terrific last night.
He's been terrific all year.
Yeah, his ERA is like less than 1.
He's come back really strong after fading hard down the stretch last year. And I just feel really bad for him. I don't know what else to say. He's got very little
What
to show
specifically do you feel bad? Do you feel bad that his team is not winning? Do you feel bad that his team isn't scoring runs for him?
I'd have to pull this up,
he's pitching well, and usually that's really
all you can control, right?
Yeah, right.
But I think there's okay. So he since his first start, and really, I mean, all of them have been great, but since the first 2 starts, the last 3. I don't think he's dealt with any kind of he's had 1 run of support, 2 runs of support in his last 20 plus innings.
Mm-hmm.
That's you pitched before. Even if you're throwing well, it's really hard to walk the tightrope of I can't make 1 singular mistake at all.
I wish that I could feel bad specifically for Seth Lugo.
Well, yeah, because you can only feel bad for the entire institution of it.
I feel
mostly
bad
for yourself.
All of the Royals pitchers, who none of them have any run support at all whatsoever.
But I don't feel bad for John Schreiber or for
I don't
Daniel
feel bad
Lynch
for John Schreiber.
I don't feel bad for.
I feel bad for Daniel Lynch for getting pulled out of the game by Matt Quatrero last night after throwing 3 dominant outs in the 10th inning of a baseball game in which you were apparently trying to win, and then immediately being replaced by John Schreiber, who gave up, well, I guess it was Alex Lang who gave up the grand slam, but gave up the lead. And I mean, it is so messed up from every different angle you could possibly hit it right now.
And I understand this. I'm just saying specifically as someone who doesn't really care that much about the Royals. I just feel bad for Seth.
Well, I'm sure. I mean,
I'm sure his millions make him feel better at night, but at the same time, that's going to be a little frustrating.
Hey, he has to play for this team.
He wants a little breathing room when he's out there on the mound.
And these horrible vibes. Yeah. How do you think Seth Lugo feels when he constantly watches people get thrown out at third base and at home? It's happened like 40 times this year. It's so bad.
The Royals need a stat like that they've won their last 8 when thrown out at third
They
base.
haven't. I watched it happen last night. They lost.
Not good.
They
It's
suck.
Not good.
They suck. It's really bad.
It's tough.
I'm getting into young Jake and young Jake territory.
Oh wow.
I don't
Double
know.
Jake.
I mean, every night I see another person join the club of something has to happen. Something has to happen.
It's a pretty bad start.
It's a very bad.
I mean, I don't know if I'm at the fire everyone phase yet, but
something has to happen.
Yeah,
something
exactly.
has to
Some
happen.
changes.
Comment from Debo on YouTube. You know what? I feel bad for Seth Lugo. Many people are joining the train of feeling bad for Seth
Okay,
Lugo.
you don't have to feel bad for the whole team, but you could feel bad for Seth Lugo.
Start the hashtag. Sorry, Seth Lugo.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for Cole Reagan. So I don't feel bad for Chris Bubich. I just feel bad for Seth Lugo.
Really? Not at all?
No, I mean, he's just doing better and has little to show for it.
Daniel Litch. You don't feel bad for Bobby Witt Jr.?
In the sense that, like, he's committed to this team for a while, but he's also hasn't played that well either.
He's been fine.
So, yeah, he hasn't been. It's not like you're going to cut him or anything.
I kind of feel bad for Vinny Pasquantino, but he has stunk.
Yeah.
I
He
wanna-
can only perform in the world context.
I know.
guess.
Apparently, he hits 3 home runs in a game in the World Baseball Classic and can't hit a baseball at all. Completely forgets during the regular season of the team of which he is employed by. Anyway, there's my Royals rant for the day. They stink, and it gets worse and worse every single day. That would include a extra innings affair last night in which you were at one point down 7-2 in those extra innings.
I saw, the hallmark of we're in spring summer territory is Walter White in his van. And then you had
everybody.
A couple of your cohorts were tweeting about it as well, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I saw
everyone's
your
watching the Royals.
Your collection of. I didn't know that Josh and McMaster were also watching the Royals.
The McMaster one surprised me. And Josh was reading a book while his wife was watching.
Most people were watching NBA last night, and I was like, "Oh wow, I guess people are watching this
Josh.
disaster."
Josh reads a book while watching the Royals, and maybe the NBA where it's on one of the high TVs.
I wonder sometimes how many TVs McMaster has. Because it feels like he's constantly trying to watch something.
Yeah. He's got lots of sports on, or he's playing his NASCAR game.
Yeah, that's right. Get the old wheel out. That is for sure. All right. We spent a couple minutes on this. I talked about it a little bit ago. Big East Commissioner Val Ackerman will retire at the end of August. So Val was the person that was put in charge by the remaining Big East schools at the time of the split. That would be DePaul, Georgetown, Marquette, Providence, St. John's, Seton Hall, and Villanova. And she has led the conference throughout that entirety of period of time, adding UConn back in and really solidifying the Big East as a quote-unquote basketball-only conference. And so, like all commissioners, I think she took it on the chin pretty good from people who were just like, something's wrong. The officials are bad. Time to blame Val, and all these different things. And I'm certainly not caping up for her. I don't think she made, she was the person who was in charge. And frankly, there was a lot of good things that happened for the conference over the last 10 years.
It's certainly
it
just
survived.
Outside looking in, net positive, real high versus whatever you could come up with.
Well, I think like thing number one is it survived.
Yep.
It's alive. And
more that can be said for the Pac-12.
That is true. So
which is alive, but is it?
It could have done a variety of different. It could have gone a variety of different ways. So he asked this for this is, by the way, this will be the first Big East commissioner that Kraton will have a say on, right? I mean, they in part get to pick who the next conference commissioner is, although the conference will sort of nominate that, and usually it's a pretty widely accepted thing. But Kraton inherited this conference commissioner. What does the Big East need going forward? What is the next step for this league? The first thing that I always see people say is expansion. You have to expand. You have to expand. Which I think we just get obsessed with expansion because we had just spent 20 years doing expansion and and all these other.
I don't know what
conferences.
expansion for the Big East would even bring.
So the schools that always get talked about are like St. Louis and Dayton. And
Like, what are they adding?
Correct.
To the conference.
I agree. I would ask that same question.
It's not.
I don't see the desperate need for the conference to expand.
Yeah.
I really don't. I think the Big East is still a conference where, unlike most of its power conference cohorts in the Big Ten and in the SEC, maybe not so much the SEC, but specifically the Big Ten, they have welcomed in teams who are A, not geographical fits, and B, not cultural fits. And they've been doing that nonstop for the last 15 years. And I think the Big East is a conference that, has a geographical footprint, even though it is wide. Obviously, they've expanded the geographical footprint, but for the most part, takes place in the Northeast and has a culture about it for basketball only. Or not basketball only, but basketball centric schools and a basketball centric conference that has this sort of identity to it. I think it's carved out a nice place in this, dystopian college conference society that we live in right now. And so I don't need to expand, or at least I would have to be really, really careful with how I would want to expand.
I just don't know what the game is in expansion for the Big East. Like, I don't know what you would be adding. There's no brand, like, with respect to St. Louis and to Dayton. There's nothing about those brands that's going to add anything from a television standpoint. Like, there's nothing that you're going
and you wouldn't anyway, because it's basketball. It's not
right. Like, I don't even understand what the whole idea of expanding with the Big East would be, unless there's a certain number you want to get to. But I don't know why that would even matter, given that you're a basketball conference. Like, there's no, unless you're looking to add back for other sports, which doesn't make sense either. No. So I just don't see any.
So but that's always the first thought when you get a new conference commissioner is like, oh, what's this person's take on expansion, and what does it look like going forward? That's not it for me. That's certainly not on my list of priorities. It is for some people. It's certainly not for me. So what does it need going forward? I wonder if there is more. You don't have to go full big idea commissioner man in the Big 12.
So you're saying Brent Yormark is not on your list?
He is not. I don't think that they would be able to get him, but
I don't know why he would make.
I'm not sure he would. But
unless he wants to introduce his court to a new area,
his no.
Madison Square Garden could use this.
Brett, you can come, but leave your court, please. So his bit, his thing, his personality is sort of being really, really out there, sure, right? Yeah. There's a lot of different new things that he's introduced.
Create buzz by being unique.
Buzz by being unique and do things that people really aren't doing. I don't think you need to go that far, but I do think the conference could use a bit of a salesman who steers even further into the Big East's unique position as a basketball-only power league. And I think Val really understood that. And I think you could afford to maybe lose a little bit of the sort of, I don't know, there's this kind of distinctly old school kind of feel about it. Like, you could shed a little bit of that and move it into the future. And then I do think the Big East has grown a lot in other sports that aren't basketball. I mean, certainly, obviously, with the addition of UConn and women's basketball, it's going to be hard to catch up to them. But they're so far ahead of everybody else that the sport inside the walls of the conference is really, really difficult to compete in. You're competing for second every year. But not only that, I think volleyball. You ask, I talked to Kirsten Bernthal Booth and Brian Rosen about this. Like, the Big East has definitely gotten better in volleyball around. Even though Kraton has won every league title since they've been in the league, they're about as dominant as UConn women's basketball has been as far as the Big East is concerned. And so I think that's coming up a little bit. I would like to see the conference take just a little bit more of a holistic approach while understanding that it is still a men's basketball centric league.
Yeah, from the outside looking in, it seems like whoever you would hire is someone you would want that has sort of a protectionist mindset of basketball to start with. Like that's sort of the baby, and
Absolutely.
you protect
Probably
that,
a
you guard
basketball
that,
background.
yeah, I would think it's a basketball background, and then operate off of that. But I think your larger point is okay. You want to protect basketball, and I think I don't think there's a lot that has to go into that other than making sure the coaches and the institutions are happy. The next thing is advancing in your other athletics as best that you can.
Yep.
And so that it is really fascinating.
Somehow try and push that forward.
To sort of think about like UConn basketball is really big, but almost to the detriment of everybody else in that conference because there's no
Women's basketball?
UConn women's basketball, not men's.
Yeah.
UConn women's basketball. And I hadn't really thought about it like that, but there's really no the chances of upward mobility is not high.
It's
what
really
you're playing
hard.
for. Because
you just know you're not catching them.
You know you're not catching them, but it's also like twice on your schedule, you're going to have this 60-point beatdown potentially, even if you're a good team. Like that's a weird mental thing to have to deal with too. And you could look at it as an opportunity, but again, when the gap is as wide as it is in women's basketball for the entirety of the sport, it's going to be even wider in that conference.
They're looking for more so than somebody catching up to UConn. It would be just the bottom getting better.
The bottom is to the middle. The middle gets stronger.
The bottom is really bad, you know, and so that
I'm assuming because there's schools that are like, we're not going to put anything.
Exactly. And,
like not even the base level.
How do you find the resources to be able to allow those schools to invest more? It's TV deals basically,
right?
And that's it.
And I don't know anything about their TV situation, but I assume you're largely okay with what they have at this point in time.
They're in a good spot.
I mean, they're very visible as far as a conference goes. At least maybe it's again the Kraton aspect of it for around here, but you're very aware they're going to be on Fox and FS1 for most of these things.
It's even gotten better over the last couple of years since they entered into this new deal, and that's the other thing for the new commissioner. I mean, they don't have a big TV media rights deal hanging over their head right now because they just did it last year.
Right.
So, we'll see what they end up going with. It'll be sort of interesting to follow along and see what that looks like. So the Big East will need a new commissioner in September as Val Ackerman is retiring. All right, let's take a break. We'll round out the hour when we return on 1620 The Zone. if you could believe it, there's a chance that 2 months from today, we will have a baseball national champion celebrating on the field downtown in Omaha. That game, by the way, game 2 of the finals on ABC, back on ABC on the Sunday, which has been a nice addition over the last couple of years. We got the College World Series broadcast schedule yesterday. Now, to be honest with you, I wish I knew why. I don't have any insight on why this happened, and I'll explain what this is. So the traditional College World Series times are 1 and 6. Game times are 1 and 6. And that is the case on the very first Friday of the College World Series opening day. The first game's at 1, the second game is at 6. Friday night is kind of the Friday night is a big day, or a big game. And then Saturday night, I think, is probably the most attended game usually of the thing until you get around to the finals and there's a game 3, potentially. I would imagine that the first Saturday night is the biggest one. So what they decided to do, and this is ESPN and the College World Series, but mostly ESPN. I don't know what else is going on Saturday, June 13th, which is the first Saturday of the College World Series, but they're moving the times back to 2 and 7. And then 1 and 6, 1 and 6. And then Tuesday, which is, I believe, could be potentially the final day of bracket, preliminary play, is 1 and Tuesday is still a full day of games, I believe. 1 and 7.
Yeah.
And then
slightly off because everything else is 1 and 6.
Right. And then it's 1 and 6. So this is without knowledge of why this is being done. And like I said, ESPN has a huge hand in this, and I'm sure, Omaha gets to kind of sign off on it, and the ballpark and the College World Series get to sign off on it a little bit. But I've never understood why they don't just do 1 and 7. And I fully understand that I'm probably the only person who cares about this because it affects me greatly. It affects me deeply during the College World Series. And I understand that it's another hour later and you're, all of a sudden you're pushing things toward, after 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock, getting out of there, and you got to turn around and start the game the next day. But I think I've seen so much hustle and bustle and the chaos that ensues after a 1 o'clock game ends at 4:30 to turn around and get that ballpark ready for a 6 o'clock game. And it is not ideal. It is a lot. There is a lot going on but it's a well-oiled machine. Why not have the extra hour of buffer? I've always thought 1 and 7 made a lot of sense to me, mostly because it's normal to play baseball games at 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock. And yet it's been 1 and 6 for a long time now.
Yeah, I assume it has something to do with what they want televised, which is why it's getting switched around. I don't know what it would be, though. It's the whole
John
CWS
says, is it the first Saturday of the World Cup? But that's a Fox property.
Yeah,
I think the first Saturday I thought was starts on the 16th or
no, it starts.
When is the World Cup?
I know the one in Kansas City starts on the 16th.
Yeah, I
so
think it starts on the 12th, the
12th.
same day as the CWS starts. But I don't think ESPN would care because it's a Fox property.
Dear God, this is a complicated schedule to try to read. Thank you, FIFA. Looks like it starts on Thursday, and there are games on Saturday. Is the U.S. playing on Saturday?
I think they play the opening game.
Does the U.S. play well, they don't play on the opening Thursday.
Okay.
The U.S. plays on Friday.
Okay, so the host countries probably play Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
The U.S. plays Friday in Los Angeles, according to what I'm looking at right now. Against Paraguay.
Okay.
Or whatever par is, but I assume it's Paraguay.
That makes the most sense.
Yeah.
They're probably not playing against a number.
Unless there's some other country that starts with the par. But there you go. It's the College World Series. It'll be here before you know it. And hopefully it's the Connor World Series.
Let's go.
I mean, I would definitely prefer it not to be the Connor World
Nobody
Series.
nobody around here wants the Connor World Series except for me.
Just Connor.
Except for Connor.
Yeah.
So there you go. Do start times for the old College World Series. Let's take a break. We'll come back 7:00 hour. Planning to get into some football questions from you all. Stay tuned for our guests as well. We're back after this on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. 7 o'clock on a Tuesday. Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, the Zone Radio Network. Follow up from John, who mentioned that the World Cup, it is the first Saturday of the World Cup on June 13th. He follows up and he makes sure to say, by the way, let's not get confused. I will not be even watching 1 minute of World Cup soccer. Not even 1 minute, John?
Gotta watch the U.S.
You know what? I'm going to call your bluff on that one, John. Watch the U.S. stink at soccer for at least 8 minutes and then turn off the television. It's a tale as old as time.
They're probably going to make the round of 16, so they're not going to stink that bad. They're just never going to achieve more than you think.
Okay. So I don't know. Let me say this first. I don't know anything. All I know is whenever they are on television, people are disappointed.
Soccer Twitter gets mad. Yeah.
Correct.
No, that's
so here's my prediction. They are not making the round of 16.
fair. Okay. Do you want to put it on the board?
Sure. Well, I mean,
Proclamation?
no, I think this is a you and I thing because
Okay.
you seem confident that they're going to make the round of 16.
Yes.
All right. I don't think they're going to. I know nothing, but I don't think they're going to.
I know slightly more than nothing, which is to say that their draw is actually a pretty good one. So
Yes, they got pretty lucky. with their draw.
People
I
have
feel
said
okay
that
about it.
before.
Yeah.
Generally they haven't. They've been kind of in tough draws.
I've seen them lose to countries you couldn't imagine.
I mean, true, yes. I have not imagined them losing to some of the countries they've lost to.
Uh-huh.
But this is
Now,
like
the
one of
good
the
news
better
for
teams.
them, those countries aren't in the world.
Well, here's the great news. This is the World Cup, which means it's the most important thing they could do.
Yeah.
And what do they do when it becomes very important?
They make it to the round of 16.
Nope, they poop their pants.
No.
Poopy
See, you're,
pants.
you're choosing a false narrative here.
I am choosing I'm choosing a narrative. I don't know whether it's false or not.
Well, I'm telling you, it's a false narrative.
I don't know.
In Qatar, they made the round of 16. It was in December.
They did make the round. I've definitely seen them make the round of 16 a time or two in my life.
You've seen them make it more than you haven't, I think, at this point in your life.
Yeah, probably. I remember when I was in.
They even made the round of 8 once in your life. I think they have.
I remember there was a big hubbub about it. I think I was in high school, so it would have been 2010.
2010 was good, yeah.
2010. They were beating people. I think they lost to Ghana.
That was they did lose to Ghana. That was the one where Landon Donovan scored the goal in the last second to advance them, and it was amazing.
People were very excited in high school.
And then they lost to Ghana.
They lost to Ghana. And I remember thinking, man, they shouldn't lose to Ghana, but it turned out Ghana wasn't bad.
No, Ghana was good.
Yeah. And then I remember when I was working in Lincoln.
So 2014.
Probably the one after that.
That's the disaster year where nothing went right.
Yeah. Must have been 18 then, right?
18, yeah.
18.
Those were the bad times.
People were so excited. Lincoln was like, "Oh my God, here we go! It's we have the number one bar of the American Outlaws or whatever." And I'm like, "All right." And then people were on the roof at Barry's and
no. So they didn't make the World Cup in 2018.
something
So
happened.
2014 they made it. They
Maybe
made
it
it back
was-
to the round of 16.
Maybe it was the Olympics.
could have been.
Maybe it was the 16, whatever it was. People were excited about it. And
Olympics it's weird. Olympics aren't that big of a deal with soccer. Like there's certain qualifications.
whatever it was.
I'm
it
just
was,
trying to make you more of a soccer person.
Thank you. Whatever it was a complete disaster.
It was probably the CONCACAF. They were trying to qualify and they failed.
Oh, not the CONCACAF.
Yeah, basically.
Not the CONCACAF. Disaster. So that is my prediction.
I look forward to the World Cup. Well,
Hey.
I mean, you won't be on the show for a week of it, so you won't really have to engage on it.
That's true. I probably won't pay attention to. Well, I won't pay attention to that week, that exact week of the World Cup.
Yeah.
When the
After,
College World
though,
Series
you'll
is going on. I won't
you'll
have
be
the
around for
bandwidth to do it.
You'll miss most of the group stage, basically.
So when they don't make the round of 16,
You
I
can
won't-
talk about it, yeah.
I will talk about it.
But when they do, then you'll also talk about
That's
it. Either
very
way,
much-
it'll be talked about.
That's very much true. All right. Welcome back. 7 o'clock here on Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone. All right, let's get to some football topics. I am interested in your big football question, Schaefer. What's your big football
All right.
question?
I wrote it down so I didn't forget it.
All right, good.
Okay. Now, This kind of puts you on the spot because you've had no notice as to what I'm about to ask you, and I'm going to give you a number, and you're supposed to come up with, things that incorporate with the number or whatever. But here we go. What are 3 things most holding Nebraska football back from having the sort of breakthroughs we're seeing in other sports?
Oh my God.
What I mean by this is it's big picture enough that you would need some more time to sit with it than the 8 seconds that I gave you.
Thanks.
But we do have 15-ish minutes to walk through some things if you would like to.
Okay. I have a couple
Off
follow-ups.
the cuff.
No, I have a couple follow-ups.
Okay.
So breakthrough as a program or breakthrough seasons?
We'll say breakthrough season because they don't really need to break through as a program. They've already broken through as a program. Unless they need to re-break through, I guess.
I kind of think they do.
Would be a conversation. What I'm talking about here.
There is a difference between having a good season and being good.
Yes, I would agree with that. So we'll put it in the phrase of having a good season because I'm not asking breakthrough here isn't getting into the college football playoff. Does that sort of help the parameters of what I'm asking?
Sure.
More or less, it's what is preventing them from capitalizing on some of the other success we're seeing. And I get different sport, different problems, all these other things. But we're seeing other programs, pick a program in Nebraska athletics, going very well right now. So the support, the resources, all of that is there for other things. What do you think is happening with football? What do you think is holding them back from even just being an 8-4 or a 9-3 team in the odd year?
Good coaching.
Okay. Let's expand on that. When you say good coaching, is it just like specifically?
I mean,
where do you want to go?
It's so much harder in football because it really just isn't as simple as any of the other sports. I think, the good coaches try to make it a little bit more simple, and I think this particular coach has made it not very simple. He's made it very complicated because I find what his priorities are to be a little bit of everywhere.
Sure.
At any given moment. And so, I think I loved what they were saying and what they were about when they got here. And I think that was the right thing. And then something happened. Something changed. And I all of a sudden was wondering about the direction and things like that. So I wish, I think if they get back to really putting their head down and caring about the football stuff and getting the football stuff right and having an identity and all the different things that you need to do to be actually good at football, then I think they really do have a chance. But I wonder about the things that they're worried about sometimes.
Yeah, I want to know, and this is like one of these things that you can ask Matt Rule, but you're never going to get like a direct answer on it. But sometimes I just want to know in like what lens is he viewing this team? Because there are times where they go into a game and he'll make decisions in the game that don't support the sort of team that he has on his sideline.
Right.
And
it's inconsistent.
I don't understand this. Like, for example, and this was a big one for me, and it's even worse because it's a bowl game, which I think should allow you to coach slightly different than maybe where you're at in the regular season. But you're in a bowl game. Your defense is bad. The other team knows your defense is bad. And you're in a situation where it's a 4th and short early in the game, and you're choosing to play this as if you're the sort of team that is going to win this game 17-14, even though going into the game it's never going to be 17-14. Yet you're still going to punt the ball instead of going for a 4th and short when you have an opportunity to try to expand on your 7-point lead. I don't get this. And and it's not like this is a one-off thing. There are times throughout the Matt Rule experience where they will be aggressive when it seems like they're the sort of team that wants to be conservative and play through the other end of its team and defense. They will be incredibly conservative when it's the sort of time where it's like, you've got 40 seconds and the ball at the Wisconsin, 15. If you score a touchdown, they give you the win. And you're settling for a field goal of which you've only made like 8 all season with a kicker you don't trust and a special teams operation you don't trust. But you're just choosing to just run your own clock out. So there's just times.
It's scatterbrain stuff. I
don't even know if it's like, I just think he doesn't have a feel for what team he has And it's whether it's throughout the season or if it's on a specific game day, and I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, that seems like the simplest aspect to me.
So I think you're right. And I think why is it seemingly vacillates even inside of a game in between, like, understanding the reality of what your football team is and trying to send a message to say, we believe in you and I believe that you can go do this.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and like you said, Schaefer, those decisions they do not seem to be consistent. They even inside of a football game. And so I think you're pinpointing pretty much exactly what I was trying to say. It's just the inconsistency in decision making, and it's just very scattered. It just feels like a very scatterbrained thing. It just feels like there's one thing over here, one thing over here. It's Clark Griswold trying to put gum over the holes in the Hoover Dam, like, and the next one pops out. Shout out to Vegas Vacation, by the way. It just
Didn't think we were going to get there.
I don't even know that they're problems, per se, that the water is gushing out of the hole here. But there's just, I think you have a coach who wants his hands in so many different cookie jars that it is really difficult to understand, like, what, like, all these coaches around the country have things like labels.
Sure.
Like, I don't know what Matt Rule's label. What is Matt Rule's label?
He was supposed to be a builder, and I think he has done that to a point, but he hasn't put Nebraska in the ability where they can break through. Like, I think two things can be true. I think they have underachieved across 3 seasons in the duration of the time that he's been here. And I think he's unquestionably put them in a better, more stable position than the program was when he got there. It's just, I wonder if there's a high-end output that can actually be obtained if it seems like every week you don't really know what version of team you're coaching.
Yep.
And it's not because they're playing any different. It's because you're mentally viewing them different each game, and I don't understand it.
From the perspective of the head coach.
Well, and a lot of it is like, okay, you have X amount of weeks of data to know what sort of team you have. Like, you should coach to that, right? Like, you know what their strengths are. You know what your weaknesses are. You mitigate your weaknesses. You emphasize your strengths, and you coach around those things. And we see other programs, if you want to use Nebraska as an example, have figured out how to do that in a game. And I think Nebraska, once again, this was my biggest Scott Frost criticism, of which there were many. There were many, many, many things that you could complain about.
Many.
But the thing that I always came back to is, on Saturday, across the field, you were losing the coaching battle every single conference game because he wasn't a good in-game coach. I thought that would get better with Matt Rule, and it has not. And I don't really understand why. I think he's better in so many aspects, but just I don't think he has a great feel for what is happening on Saturday with his team. I think he has a good feel on, other things, but it's just like in-game, in-moment, you get these situations where, do we go for a fake? Do we punt it? We don't know. We're calling a timeout. We're reversing our decision.
Yeah. And so back to your question, I wonder how much of
it's
that.
Like, I need him to pick a damn lane and then stay in the lane.
Agreed.
If you want to be a defensive team that plays every game in one possession football, which is kind of what you are, but you haven't chosen to be, then build towards that.
I agree.
If you want to be an innovative offense that has 17 different things that you can do on the football field, hire a damn offensive coordinator that can do that.
So I wonder how much how much of this, as I put it, scatterbrain stuff, like individual decisions that come up in a game. How much is this, to answer your question? Is it him, Rule? He's the head coach of the football program, and then how much of it is his ability to handle this big of a thing? Like, this is something we talked about at the way beginning.
It shouldn't be, because he was a former NFL coach. Like,
but
that's the
that
part
did
about
not
it
go
that
very well.
I can't get past the fact that
it was the same thing there, though.
Yeah, well, that's why he left. I mean, that's why he wasn't liked by the people that worked for the organization and not for the football part.
And I don't know about the day in and day out of how he built what he built at Temple and Baylor, but just reading the tea leaves and from the outside looking in, It just really, it's a smaller operation where you really have no choice but to be so singularly focused on who you are as a football program, what you're doing, what you're recruiting. Like everything is building toward one thing. And I just have always felt like he's trying to do 40 different things at once here. And I think it could be that some of that is the scope and the magnitude of the job that he holds. It's not particularly inherent, although the size of it is, but it's not like Nebraska's like every big job has this problem. He just might not be the right guy for the scope,
It could be.
I don't know that for sure. But I don't know. I'm thinking about all these different things, and that just sort of clicked in my head a little bit.
Right. I think there's so much there that is good that I don't understand why it's been difficult to basically determine this is how we want to win football games.
I know.
Because it's not like I'm sure there was a version of Ferentz that never thought that he would have to be the sort of coach that this is how they're going to go out and win football games. And yet that's like Iowa's part of their success is that they are very consistent with who they are in all aspects of what they do. And they don't care that they're a punting program that relies on their defense because that's how they build.
They prefer it.
And if Nebraska wanted to be that, I think people around here could accept it if the wins followed, but they have their foot in that. And then they want to turn around and have a dynamic offense and invest their resources in offensive players and then wonder why their defense struggles.
Yeah.
So I don't.
But to be fair to Rule, I mean, some people around here, we talked about it a little bit with the stadium. Some people around here, not that that's Rule's concern, but
or shouldn't be.
We care. Correct. People around here care about not sacrificing anything.
Sure.
They're not giving up anything to anybody.
But
we have to spend the most money. We have to have the biggest this. We have to have the best quarterback. We have to have the best offensive coordinator and all these different things. And if you are Iowa, you are inherently accepting that you won't have the best quarterback, and then you're not recruiting the best quarterback, and then you're not. But the sacrifice is worth it because you're winning. You're good, and you have an identity.
My problem with that sort of line of thinking is that those are the same people who think that you just go, and obviously we've seen Indiana do this, so now Kurt Cignetti is going to be the thing that they hold up for the rest of eternity, even though there's about a billion reasons why it doesn't matter as it relates to Nebraska. There's a progression that Nebraska has always had to take where it needed to crawl and then it needed to walk and then it could run. Yeah. And you have the people who just want to go from they're laying on their stomach to running. And Nebraska has to build that foundation. So if you build a foundation that's based through having a great defense and you have the resources then to be able to add to it in a way that Iowa can't, because that's the thing that Nebraska has that Iowa doesn't, is they have more resources. They have more of a commitment to it. They have more of a financial commitment to it, but they haven't built that base. And even now, as they're going through back-to-back 7-win seasons, that base is fine, but you don't know what this team is going into year 4. Like, I think they need to be an offensive-oriented team to win football games, and yet I think they're going to have a head coach that'll take them into conservative football when they probably need to score 28 points to win, and they'll lose 27-24.
It definitely doesn't add up. When you start to game it out,
right?
This math equation for this year.
Part of my whole frustration with the Dylan Raiola thing is, okay, you went out and you have this quarterback and you're going to make him the part of your, if you're going to build this offense and commit to these wide receivers and you go get an Isaiah Hunter and you have Dane Key and you have Ja'Cory Barney, and you have Emmett Johnson, how are you not building some sort of explosion with your offense? Like, it's just not, and maybe it's all Dylan Raiola is why you couldn't do it. I suspect it had more to do with how you built your offense with its architect and the play calling and the offensive line, and none of it worked in conjunction.
Well, I mean, to go back to my question that I sort of wondered, what happened 2023 to 2024? Because I think you and I both agree that while they were very limited in what they were doing in 2023, they at least knew what they were.
They were a defensive-oriented team. I agree with that.
And so
I think it's you add Dylan Raiola and it becomes, okay, we've got to go. We've got this model now that we have to capitalize on this 5-star quarterback.
It's not it's not exactly Dylan in his style of play or how good he was or how bad he was. Maybe it's just a little bit more about what his. Rule mentioned this in his first press conference after Dylan left, and he was like, Dylan helped raise the profile of Nebraska football.
Mhm.
Like, and that always struck me as like, first of all, he did, question mark. Second of all, okay, well, what did it get you where you wanted to go? And so raising the profile, sure, but if you feel like, all right, you have this 5-star quarterback, and like you said, Schaefer, we need to do this and this and this, and we need to act like a program with a 5-star quarterback now. When you start thinking that way, that's when it got off the rails. That's precisely when it got off the rails. And I don't, it's still capable of getting back on the rails. Dylan's gone. And once again, this is not about, having Dylan and not having Dylan. It's about how they approach things when he got here.
Right.
And it seemed to change.
Well,
and it maybe just coincidentally coincides with him being here.
And I don't know what happened in the middle of 2024, but then you have your fracture with your defensive staff.
Yep.
And I don't think they've recovered from that. I don't know if Rob Orich will allow them to recover from it. I don't know if Matt Rule will allow Rob Orich to recover from it. Like, that's the other part of this conversation. But when you lost Tony White and Terrence Knighton, and those guys aren't lighting it up at Florida State. They're in their own problem.
No, but they had something pretty good here.
They had something good here.
Yeah.
And Nebraska hasn't recovered on its defensive line or its front or what its defense looked like. And I know that there was a trust that John Butler was just going to pick things up, and it didn't happen. And Matt Rule had this inherent trust that he could just fix the defense. But what has happened in the time of which Matt Rule was really working with defenses? He became an NFL head coach, and then he was a CEO-type head coach at Nebraska. He wasn't day-to-day defense anymore, the way that he might have been at Baylor or some of these other places. He brings back Phil Snow. It's just a lot of like trying to find a certain spark. Like, I feel like so much of this is, well, hey, if we catch a spark here, if we spark here, it's going to light up and everything's going to go.
I mean, that's definitely Calandria. Calandria is like the, you have like the regular sparklers, and then you have like the giant, like aluminum ones. Like,
for some reason, you said sparkler, and I went to the punks, and I went to the jumbo punk. And I was like, oh, the one that just,
he's a jumbo punk.
Yeah, he's a jumbo punk.
Not a punk like that.
Right. But if people know fireworks, they know what I'm talking about.
Right. And that's in essence what you're asking him to do.
Right.
Be the spark, because I don't know what the offense is or what it's trying to be or what it's going to be, but I do know you have a complete wild card of a quarterback. And so you're just asking him to go out there and make plays, basically, which I don't know.
In theory, might be the sort of thing that they need to get past this weird stasis that they're in. Like, they just, I don't know. They need something. And
It's
I was
definitely
sort of
stuck in the mud.
I was kind of resistant to it, like early on in the offseason when Calandria became the quarterback, because calamity is not the style of which I would prefer out of my offense. But it might be because I just have so much of if he could be, 3/4 Tommy Armstrong, that alone would allow you to do better offensively.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm very much over the risk averse nature which Dylan played.
Which would have been fine if you paired it with the actual team that you needed to pair it with.
Defense.
And they didn't. So much of it for me is just is having some sort of feel for the team you are, the game that you're in. I think he has a great understanding of the conference, which is something Scott Frost never figured out when he was here for his 6 years or whatever it was.
True.
So I think Rule has a good feel for that. But as far as the in-game stuff, that is where, however they could start 5-0, and it wouldn't change sort of how it's going to feel if you get into November and he doesn't understand or have a feel for what he's coaching.
Yeah.
And we're 3 years into that.
Did I answer your question?
Well, you answered 1 tentative.
All right.
You were worried about filling a segment.
I didn't know what was coming. Great question, though. All right, let's take a break. Any thoughts on that? We will hear them from you. 402-951-1620. Also, feel free to hit us up on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed at Happer and Schaefer. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. Hey, what's your walk-up song? Let us know, and you could win a 4-pack of sweet tickets to see the Savannah Bananas play at Haymarket Park on June 11th, and $200, and a free duct cleaning, which is a $900 value from McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air. It's our Bananas and Bangers sweepstakes. Enter online, 1620thezone.com, powered by McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air. All right, today on Power Rankings with Tiers, we're going to go a couple places because Joey will be gone for the next two of these. A couple places where Joey doesn't delve in too much. Okay. Today, movies, but specifically, listen up, Josh Hodson, Denzel Washington movies. Denzel Washington, as Josh would always say, when you say Denzel Washington, the greatest actor of all time.
Okay, Josh thinks that.
Yeah,
Huh?
he's a huge Denzel guy. I love Denzel.
Most people are big Denzel guys.
I mean, who isn't?
I don't really. He's one of those actors where I've never heard anyone be like, "Yeah, I don't care for his movies."
Right. No,
Now,
nobody would say
those
that.
people exist. They just don't interact with me.
He's got different. We'll discover the tiers here, and prefacing, I'm not a huge movie watcher, but I have seen some Denzel movies, and I'm ready to rank some.
All right.
All right, I have 4 tiers of Denzel Washington movies. Mike Schaefer, how many tiers do you have?
I have 6.
Whoa,
But one is a singular tier with a movie by itself
me too.
at the very end, which tells you.
Mine's the second one.
Okay, all right.
Mine's the second one. All right, I'll explain them as we go. My first tier is seen it, loved it, rewatched it, and will rewatch it again.
Oh, I like this.
All right.
I like this.
Here they are in order. Number 1, Training Day. Number 2, John Q. I love John Q. Number 3, Flight. I love Flight. I'm drunk now. Number 4, Unstoppable, the one where he tries to stop the train. Number 5, The Book of Eli. I love The Book of Eli.
Okay.
The twist is fantastic. And number 6, He Got Game. I have watched them all. I love them all, and I will watch them all again.
Okay. All right.
6 in tier 1.
I have a couple of those in my top tier, which I just have called peak Denzel. Like if you tell me Denzel Washington, I'm probably thinking of one of these movies specifically, especially if it's
Wow. Michael says John Q is probably his worst movie. Yeah, right, Michael. Do you have a heart?
well, that's the whole basis of the movie.
That's true. That's true. So somebody has less of a heart.
All right, peak Denzel. I struggled with this because I like all of these movies, and on any given day, any one of them could have been at the top.
Okay.
I went with Flight because I think that's my favorite
Whoa!
Denzel movie.
This is great. I didn't know that this movie is more popularly recognized than I thought it was.
I mean, he got an Oscar nomination for it. He was tremendous in it. It's one of, and Michael, if you're listening, you're probably going to want to turn off your radio. It's one of my favorite John Goodman performances.
Oh, when I saw
they
it
start playing
first,
Sympathy for the Devil and John Goodman
So
comes
good.
in, and it's just like, oh my god,
he's got all the cocaine.
Yeah.
So when I first saw it, I thought that it was just like a dumb cable movie. Like I'm like,
I went to it in theaters.
oh wow.
I was like, a movie about aviation and Denzel Washington? Click.
Yeah, it was tremendous.
I dragged a friend who never goes to movies. He loved it.
I
told
loved
him
it.
what we were doing.
So maybe they
He's like,
didn't,
where are you putting Flight? I was like, number 1.
maybe they didn't market it in the way that, you know, like if they would have marketed it in a way in which like this is like Denzel's best performance and he was awesome in this, I would have watched it way sooner.
I've come to the realization if you just show me a trailer and it looks like the movie's about a pilot, I'm probably in.
Same.
Like I think that's where I'm at in life.
Same.
Okay, so Flight was 1. Inside Man is 2. I watched half of this movie on my flight back from Houston a couple weeks ago. I love this movie. I was surprised I didn't put this number 1. This is a Spike Lee, Denzel Washington movie about a bank heist in New York City. It is fantastic. Highly recommend it.
Okay.
Man on Fire, I have 3rd, Training Day, and then American Gangster. So I've got
Look at it.
5.
We have some diversity.
We definitely
This is
do.
good. All
We
right.
definitely do.
My second tier is seen it and was fine with it.
Okay.
This is like the only Denzel movie that I'm like, yeah, take it or leave it. Remember the Titans.
Okay. All right.
Is that hot take?
There's people, I think Remember the Titans is one of those that you have like a clear nostalgia for, like
Yes.
you love this movie
Okay.
with every fiber of your being, or you recognize like, It's a fine movie. I don't probably need to watch it,
Yeah.
50 times.
No, I don't know what it was about it. I just maybe I think I watched it probably too late in my life.
Okay. You didn't see it when it came out then?
Not at all. No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, so I have a category called Sports Denzel,
Sports Denzel.
and he got game at the top of it.
Nice.
And then we've got Remember the Titans. And then I don't know if you've seen this one. This is really good. This was in my Netflix when I first got Netflix. It's probably one of the first 5 movies I had that was mailed to me. Hurricane.
Never heard of it.
He's a boxer that's convicted for a murder and on death row and all of that.
Oh, I'm very into that.
Yeah.
With Denzel. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I think it's based on a true story. Someone's going to yell at me, but I'm fairly certain it's based on it.
By the way, we already got a comment in from Chris on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. How's American Gangster not at the top of your list? And how is John Q not at the bottom? People hating on John Q? This is horrible.
I've got John Q on my tiers. We've got a ways to go to get to it, though.
All right. My next tier is called I Love Inside Jokes. I'd love to be a part of one someday. Here they are. Malcolm X, Philadelphia, Devil in a Blue Dress. Never seen any of them, but I always hear people talk about how good they are.
Okay. I respect that. I respect that. I didn't include any movies I didn't see. I didn't see any of those.
Well, I ran out of movies that I saw.
I realized, thinking that I'd watched a lot of Denzel movies, one, there's a lot of Denzel movies.
I saw a list of like 50.
I have a stretch of his career where I watched everything, and then basically bookended by stretches of his career where I've watched nothing. So my second or third
Early
tier
Denzel,
here,
late Denzel.
yeah, my third tier here is called Detective Denzel, because generally in a lot of these he was either a detective or a cop or an ATF agent or something along those lines. And we get The Little Things, which came out on HBO during COVID, where he's a detective. We have Deja Vu and we have Out of Time, other movies where he's a cop or a detective.
All right.
I'll just go into the next one. Then I have Drama Denzel, where John Q makes an appearance. The movie Fences, which is good. Like it's Viola Davis, it's Denzel Washington. It's incredibly well done, but it's like watching a play as a movie, and it's just kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't rise to the level of where I need it. And then I remember watching,
you like, I want Denzel to be on the screen yelling.
Oh, he's yelling.
Okay, good.
He's yelling.
All right.
He is an angry has-been baseball player.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. No, I think you might like it.
Right.
It's slow.
Well, what I really need here is a recommendation on which Denzel movie I watch for the first time next.
Okay. I like that.
Like, that's what I want to get out of this.
I think for me, it's Malcolm X, which I can't believe I've never seen, but I've never seen Malcolm X.
Sam.
And I've seen that GIF of the slamming of the table about 1 million times.
So people are saying that we got a couple recommendations for The Bone Collector.
Haven't seen that one
which
either.
Sounds fascinating.
That's definitely a 1990s detective movie.
It sounds just corny enough, and then you put Denzel.
It seems like it had been playing on TNT for most of our younger lives.
Yes. And then, by the way, all the Equalizer movies.
I haven't seen any of those.
Yeah.
Okay. So Antoine Fisher rounds that out, which is one that I remember watching, but don't remember having any real opinion on.
Yeah.
He's a therapist in the
Sure.
military.
By the way, I did have a fourth tier. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah.
It's called The Only Reason I'd Watch Is If You Told Me Denzel Was Incredible in Them.
Okay.
All right. The Equalizer, The Pelican Brief, Ricochet, and then really any other movie.
Okay.
They're all in there.
I still have several more to go here.
Okay, keep going.
We've got our post-apocalyptic or gunslinging Denzel, which is Book of Eli, which I enjoyed.
I like Book of Eli.
I don't know that I don't think it's good.
It's a really long way until the payoff.
Right.
It's a really long way.
That's a good way to put
it.
it. And then the Magnificent Seven, which again I enjoyed, but he's like part of an ensemble. It's not quite as good. And then my last one is the most recent Denzel that I watched. And the tier is I didn't need this Denzel.
Oh no.
This movie
Bad
stunk.
Denzel.
And it combines an actor I love, a director whose work I've always enjoyed, and it sucked. Denzel Washington in a Spike Lee movie called Highest to Lowest that you can get on Apple TV. Do not watch.
Is this recent, Denzel?
Came out in the spring of last year. I
oh
think.
wow.
Not good.
Do we need to engage in the conversation? Is Denzel cooked?
If that movie was any indication, Done.
Oh no!
We're moving on to his son, who I enjoy quite a bit.
Mike Schaefer has declared Denzel Washington
It was
done.
cooked.
horrible.
Is that his most recent movie?
It was like he was playing Denzel, playing someone else. It was bad.
That's not good.
Denzel's chopped.
I think it was more the.
Thank you, Jake.
I think it
Young
was
Jake.
more the story than anything else, but it was bad.
I gotta see. Okay, so he's got a few in the upcoming category here on IMDb. There's one called "Here Comes the Flood." Also, there is an Equalizer 4 coming out. By the way, I got a text.
Severe says highest to lowest was not for me.
Okay. Got a text from a lot of people to watch all the Equalizer movies in the Bone Collector, which I now have a backlog, which I have a backlog of all movies, by the way, that I need to watch. Yes, of course, I'm very famous for not having seen very many movies. Also, apparently there is according to his IMDb, there's an untitled project in which he plays a character named Hannibal, which is interesting. And then apparently there is a Black Panther 3 in pre-production, which I did not know that they were doing.
I don't think I've ever watched Black Panther 2.
Excellent. I will watch any of the Denzel movies. But if you're Mike Schaefer, you might not, because you're saying he's cooked.
Look, it could have just been the movie, and that's maybe
Highest.
I learned that it's
lowest.
not for me, but it was not for me, and that it wasn't.
Gladiator 2 popped up on a lot of
I
the
want to
lists.
see this. I haven't watched Gladiator 2. I still don't know how to reconcile with the fact that that's my favorite movie. Gladiator is.
Yeah.
I don't know that I needed a sequel. I don't know that the sequel is going to be good.
But what if I told you Denzel was in it?
Oh, I know Denzel's in it, and that still didn't get me to watch it.
Wow.
And so I don't know what to do.
And Gladiator's your favorite movie?
Yeah.
Like I was an auto watch for Dumb and Dumber 2, even though I knew it was going to be terrible.
Yeah, well, look, I watched Super Troopers 2 and Boondock Saints 2, and I knew they were going to be
I heard
trash.
that there was talk of a Super Troopers 3.
And not just talk. It comes out in August.
Look at that. I'm way up on the movie.
I learned this
Thing.
yesterday. In fact, I sent a text to some friends that were two things. There's a Super Troopers 3 in August, and I don't like it. And then I'm ranking Denzel movies. What do you think about this?
This is good. By the way, a lot of problems with a lot of what we said. Text from the 402. How does Man on Fire not show up on any of these lists?
Whoa. Man on Fire was in my
Yeah.
top tier. I love Man on Fire.
Zach writes in on the Equitable Bank inbox. He says he wasn't the main character, but don't sleep on Glory.
Yeah, so Glory I haven't seen either. It's like I said, there's this period of where I start my Denzel track around like 1997, and then I'm all the way into, I guess I got up to 2021 with some misses in there, but there's probably a 12-year period where I think I saw everything he was in.
Denzel was just, for you, didn't exist.
It just he popped up out of nowhere. I remember the Titans might have been like the first Denzel movie I saw.
Oh,
Oh, definitely mine as well, for sure.
probably right around
So,
there. Yeah.
I feel like every kid growing up playing football, their dad just showed them that movie.
Would you have Denzel? Would you have Remember the Titans #1 in Denzel movies, young Jake?
Oh yeah, for me, I've only seen that and He Got Game, and I think I saw Malcolm X for like a class. Those would be the only 3 Denzel movies I've seen, so not enough.
He
Okay.
Got Game has such an absurd premise, but
Yeah.
it's so good.
It's so good.
Jesus Shuttlesworth is such a great character name. by
Other
the way.
recommendations: Antoine Fisher, which some of these were mentioned already.
Yep.
Macbeth,
Haven't seen the tragedy of Macbeth.
Manchurian Candidates.
I have seen Manchurian Candidate. I didn't rank it for some reason.
Ricochet.
Would have went in drama.
Some of these, like I said, some of these were mentioned, but yeah, I got a lot. We got a lot of feedback on this. Also, one from a buddy of mine who said 2 guns. Or 2 guns.
Yeah, so that's him and Mark Wahlberg. I
Fallen.
think.
I'm down to watch a Denzel Mark Wahlberg movie. That's for
I
sure.
think that's Mark Wahlberg. I don't think I've seen 2 Guns.
Michael
That's an
Sa-
interesting duo.
Michael Severe writes saying, "Oh my God, you haven't seen Malcolm X? I saw it twice the day it came out. That's impressive."
Yeah, it's 2
Michael.
Guns, so that might be the next one you end up watching.
I'm down.
Malcolm X is the next one I'm going to watch.
All right, we'll take a break. Any thoughts on that? We'll take them. 402-951-1620. Let's hit the headlines quickly when we return on 1620 The Zone. All right, time for the headlines. Just have a couple minutes here. So, Jake, let's see what we got this morning. What are we cooking?
So Kansas students take Oscar Mayer Wienermobile to prom.
Is that an auto click? Because I think we're pretty close.
Yeah, I don't really know what's going to beat that.
We'd like to hear the other headline just for fun. Jake.
Oh, humans far behind as robot breaks record at Beijing half marathon.
Robot goes faster than humans.
Yeah,
I mean,
robot
I think
can't
I get
feel
it.
pain or suffer.
Right. Kansas students take Oscar Mayer Wienermobile to prom. A group of students from a Kansas high school rode to prom in style when they were able to enlist the services of an Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Brecken, predictably a high school kid, Andrews, a junior at Seaman High School, and said the unconventional way he and his friends arrived at prom started when they took a trip to a Sonic in Topeka and spotted the hot dog shaped vehicle parked at a local Dillon's grocery store. One of my buddies was like, "Can we rent this thing?" And I was like, "Well, what if we ask about prom? What if they will take us? It's tomorrow." Andrews told a local television station, like, that'd be insane. The friends approached Maggie Dawson, the Wienermobile's hot dogger driver, with their request. Quote, "I'm just used to asking weird questions like that, to be honest. I like talking to everyone, and it just made sense in my mind. You miss all the shots you don't take," Andrews told WIBW.
I love this kid.
Dawson said the decision was easy. It was like the light bulb, she said. We were like, well, what time is prom? And from there, we checked our schedule, and we were able to make it happen. The Oscar Mayer crew delivered the students to prom free of charge. Quote, "People take limos," student Cooper Light said. "This is basically just a big hot dog limo." End quote.
Incredible. The jealousy that I have. We didn't do limos to prom either.
Yeah.
My dates just rolled around in my 1988 Jeep Grand Cherokee.
He's right. I mean, these kids are really good at going up to people and asking them absurd questions. I think to a fault, to a certain
To
point.
a fault.
I mean,
Have you had people ask you absurd questions?
This generation just doesn't care about what they say out loud.
You have so many more opinions on young people than I do. And you're younger than me.
Well, I just
And you interact with them more.
I have to interact with them way more. And they go on TikTok and they go up to people on the street and they don't care whether they're intruding in on their lives.
Are these like
They ask
real
them
people?
questions.
Or
They say, "Hello, Oscar Mayer Wienermobile lady. Can I borrow this truck and take it to prom?" And she said, "Of course. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take."
I love that. That's great.
Yeah, that was a great quote.
I feel like maybe you're conflating the influencer people with real people. I don't know.
Maybe. All the children are influencers to me. They are.
Jake, are you an influencer?
Not yet, but
See, he's
maybe-
trying
maybe-
to
maybe-
Working on it?
maybe me being 25 is. Am I too old to be an influencer yet?
Okay. Well,
Not saying I'm old at 25, but
Yeah, maybe. You might be too old.
I don't know.
You
I
have
don't know if I would get along with the,
It's
with
be
the
like
TikTokers.
19.
Yeah,
I don't think
actually,
anyone
19.
gets along with the TikTokers.
Ryan in Delaware writes in, Connor says this generation has no decorum. That is true. They go up to people and ask
You're
them
famously
questions.
very big on decorum.
I love decorum. I need some decorum. That's what we need. And you know what? I'm glad that they were able to get their Oscar Mayer hot dog Wienermobile.
Yeah, I'm happy for
Have
them.
you ever been inside a Wiener?
No, I have not ever been inside the Oscar Mayer Wiener.
I have.
I've seen it many times, but I've never been inside.
There was a tour that came to Lincoln a few years ago when I worked at the station in Lincoln, and they were like, "Would you like to see?"
So what was on the inside?
It
of the
was like
wiener?
it was like it was the 80s.
Okay.
It was like kind of shag carpet, like
Okay.
a lot of brown and red stuff going on in there. It was sort of odd. They just take it all around the country and they go from there. All right, those are the headlines indeed. Congratulations to those young intrepid students for taking a nice whip to prom. We come back 8:00 hour and we check in with who? Scott Frost after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. 8 o'clock hour. Excuse me, 8 o'clock hour. Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, Zone TV, the Zone Radio Network, the Zone mobile app, all of the Zone things. Also, the Zone's Derby draw. You can enter that online for your chance to win $200 without even picking a horse. We'll pick it for you. Be one of the lucky 20 finalists, and we will randomly assign you a racehorse during the Derby. And if that horse wins, your horse wins, you will get $200. Register now at 1620thezone.com. A lot of chances for you to win money from us, which I'm just saying. Sounds like a pretty good deal. You might be walking out with, well, we do have Big Check. Have you seen Big Check?
The Big Check sitting up at the front.
We have Big Check. Unfortunately, it is, you cannot keep Big Check. It is a dry erase Big Check.
Oh.
But I've always wanted to have a picture with a Big Check.
I had a picture of a Big Check. I have a Big Check at my house. Hudson won a Big Check when he won the baby crawl.
That's right. Now, how do you cash Big Check?
You don't cash the Big Check.
They
It's
give you
just-
an actual check?
They wired us the money.
Oh, okay.
And so we just.
So now you just have a Big Check.
Yeah, I have the Big Check that I keep thinking, I'm going to do something with this. And I haven't, but
Well.
maybe.
Frame it?
Well, yeah, that's the idea. But we still have not put anything on the walls of our house that we moved into in August.
Oh, no.
Well, other than television. Television has been put on.
You must put the televisions on the walls.
But other than that, nothing else.
All right. Well, you could, we'll let you come in here and you could write that. It's really a blank check when you think about it. You could write that you've won millions of dollars.
Is that a 90s movie that you've seen? Blank Check?
Blank Check? I've not seen Blank Check.
I loved it. I'm sure it doesn't hold up at all. It's like an action adventure movie for like 8-year-olds.
Not a whole lot of movies held up from the 90s.
It's a different time, different era.
It is. Very much so.
Now everything is like, why didn't they just get their phone out and call this person and they could have solved that?
By the way, I can't believe you haven't put any stuff on the walls. Is it
No, it's
nothing?
absurd.
That would not stand in New Casa de Happer. There is new things in the walls every day.
A lot of it is that decisions have to get made, and I'm not the one that's going to make them, and she's not the one that's going to make them, and
That's
so then
true.
they just sit.
No,
there.
I understand why things get delayed.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
So
I very much get that. But I just start hammering away.
that's the difference between us.
I just start ripping it.
My path is like, all right, I'm just going to mention this passive aggressively every 3 months, and we'll see if we end up coming up with a plan of what we're going to do. Otherwise, that picture is just sitting against the wall where we want to hang it, but we haven't done it yet.
Good one from 3-Putt. Schaefer put some posters up like it's a frat house. We could be the true lumberjack frat boys.
Okay. I can look into that.
Just like the graphic said. But ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to steal the thunder of the afternoon show, but we do have a Frost flash.
Oh,
That's right. Scott Frost is quoted in the story today, and it's not just, Scott Frost talking about his football team at UCF. Scott Frost is never talking about his football team at UCF. He's always talking about how he doesn't want to talk about Nebraska. In fact, here's a story today from Brett McMurphy of On3.com. I will read you the very beginning, and you'll see how accurate I was when I just said the sentence I said. Scott Frost has cage dived with great white sharks off the South African coast. He climbed the highest summit in the continental United States. It also traversed one of the country's most dangerous mountain ranges. He hiked the Grand Canyon rim to rim and even ran with the bulls on the cobbled streets of Spain. But nothing is more difficult than coming to grips with the only failure of his professional career. Quote, I don't want to talk about Nebraska at all. End quote. Scott Frost. So what do we think this story is about? Nebraska? Schaefer, you're so mad at this topic already. I love
I'm
it.
not mad at the topic.
No,
I just
I know.
it's just endless series of refusing to accept any part of his own position that happened in Lincoln.
I didn't.
It's
do
everything
that.
else was just foisted upon him. He was stuck with this, and he had to handle this, and he had to do that. And so rather than ever just saying, you know what, maybe I wasn't equipped for the job when it came up, we're just going to pretend like Nebraska was the problem. It was Nebraska's fault that he couldn't
Well,
possibly recruit a wide receiver to save his life.
It's an unfixable situation. It's clearly very broken. And
It was Nebraska's fault that he went into a conference where there was grown adults across the sidelines that knew how to run a football operation. Yeah, that's basically what it is.
I'm going to keep reading.
Yeah, no, the article is more just Brett McMurphy taking shots about Nebraska as a job
Exciting.
over and over and over, while Frost says nothing about it.
Not after his remarkable playing career in a national championship in Lincoln. Not after the prodigal son returned home 2 decades later and his big red persona unraveled while trying to fix the unfixable at Nebraska. Unfixable, huh? He was 37 when he ran through the streets of Pamplona in 2012, 6 years from going home as a dying program saviors coach. Dang, this is quite descriptive words, Brett. Quote, back then in Spain, I didn't feel like the Bulls would catch me if I didn't want them to catch me. What is that supposed to mean? He may as well have been talking about running down a national championship in the shadows of Nebraska's past. It makes no sense, really. From the hottest assistant coach in college football to an unbeaten season in his first head coaching job at UCF, 2 college football blue bloods throwing cash at him to save their programs. Ultimately, the lure of Nebraska, the pull of home Trump Florida's money. But as it turns out, maybe you really can't go home again. Man, how many times have I read this story? Let's see.
If you're looking for new ground that gets covered, you're probably not going to find it here.
They talked to this Eric Kapitulik guy, the Marine guy. You remember that guy?
Yeah, the program.
Yeah, the program. Since 2010, Eric Kapitulik has been a close friend of Frost. He's a former special operations and infantry officer in the U.S. Marines, ultra marathoner, and triathlete. In other words, he's a badass. Kapitulik is the founder and CEO of the program, a leadership development, team building, and culture development service that works with athletic programs and corporations. In 2010, the program worked with Oregon, where Frost was then the Oregon wide receiver coach, and they've been friends ever since. He's willing to get out of his comfort zone in these adventures. Frosty is the ultimate teammate in these situations. He's challenging himself, and they talk about all the different things that they did. I used to love to do stuff like that, but now I have children, Frost said. Maybe the only relatable thing he said.
Yeah. Did you run with the Bulls prior to your your life as a father?
Kapitulik remembers the Grand Canyon trip with Frost in the summer of 2018. That was months before Frost's first game as the Huskers coach. Quote, we're at the bottom of the Grand Canyon and there's this Nebraska fan and she's all over him, wanting to get photos with him, said Kapitulik, laughing. A few years later, he and his wife were watching a Nebraska game and Frost almost looked like a different person. Quote, the kid's your buddy. You get nervous about his health. I would see him there on the sideline and my wife would say, Scott looks like he's aged. He's stressed, but he's moved on now. He's in a great place.
Well, after a few years, you do age.
I do not want to talk about Nebraska at all, but what I will say is in 2017 at UCF, we'd win a game at home and Ashley, his wife, and I would drive a mile off campus somewhere and nobody would really bother us or say anything to us. Ross told On 3. There's a freedom to that allowing you to just try to excel and not worry about the outside noise because it could be crippling at times in certain places. Interesting. I wonder what he's talking about. It's the exact opposite here at UCF. It's a really good place here for the players to just be and student athletes to try and be the best they can and not worry about too much scrutiny and pressure. The same is for the coaches. He says his wife and him are very, very happy. Don't put it on the internet that they're not happy. They're very happy. And there's kind of some more stuff in here, but
yeah, it goes on to the UCF quarterback situation.
I mean, there's more than that though. There's another Nebraska mention a little bit later on. He talked to let's see, who did McMurphy talk to? The UCF's vice president of
athletics.
Yeah. So I guess that would be their AD. I suppose Terry Mulhire. I didn't have concerns about Nebraska, just questions. I don't know all the ins and outs of Nebraska, but I'm from that area. It's hard to recruit. Scott earned the job here.
Okay.
So it was like some point to that story because at the start I was like, why did they write this story?
He doesn't want
That's
to
the
talk
point. He doesn't want to talk
about
about Nebraska.
Nebraska anymore. Don't put it on the internet that he does.
So because he wouldn't talk about Nebraska, Brett McMurphy just included
No,
Nebraska.
you could put it on the internet that
Makes
he
sense.
does not want to talk about.
I guess
Nebraska.
that's a good point. Yes, that's something. A
He
main
just
thing,
wants
I
to
guess.
talk around it.
I think
Yes.
as many times as we can mention that he doesn't want to talk about Nebraska, that is that's the best we could do.
Probably.
Just want to help him. Just want to help him out.
I hope he goes well for him. I really do.
Yeah, I actually thought when he went there, I kind of thought he was going to win. I don't know. I mean, last year didn't go very well. I mean, they were in a pretty rough spot, they're certainly in a more difficult league now than when he left.
When I was asking around last summer, the problems for UCF, the roster that he was left from Malzahn was kind of messy.
Pretty tricky.
The NIL situation is tough. And then he's in an entirely different conference than when UCF was at the AAC. So now he's in the Big 12. So it's a different, it's a different thing altogether.
No doubt.
And the quality of the roster that he had when he first got to UCF and what he has now are in a different place too. Plus he's got to manage NIL. And so, it's a lot. You get the right people around you, you'll be fine. But that was half the problem in Lincoln. So, which again was all Lincoln's fault, Nebraska's fault. He was just a pawn in its mean game.
There's a lot of people in a lot of high profile jobs around the country, and they don't seem to really have that much of a problem with it. But
someone wanted to take his photo.
So like you said, we can put this to bed. It is it is definitely a real thing that when you were here, that it is very difficult to escape. It's everywhere, everything, all the time. Everything comes back to the program that you run as the Nebraska football head coach. There's no doubt about it. Listen to us.
In exchange, life-changing money.
Yes.
Life-changing opportunity.
But I would go this way. A lot of places that is the case.
Yeah.
A lot of places that is the case. And Nebraska is probably unique in a variety of different ways, but there are big jobs around the country. Nebraska is one of the big jobs. And what happens is when you're the head coach at a big job, your life goes away. It's a different thing. Some people choose to embrace it. Some people resent it and, use it as an excuse for their failures. And that is what has happened here. I'm not saying that, there are certain parts about the job being the way it is and how big it is that can be prohibitive or at least make it a little bit more difficult to get things off the ground. There's no doubt about it. That is a real thing. But like you said, the lack of responsibility from him that he's always showed,
the accountability,
in a situation like this is just staggering to me. I don't know how you can't be. I don't know how he hasn't mentioned one time. It's a really big. It's a really big job there, and it means a lot to all those people. But I probably didn't handle it very well. I probably was a little bit immature. I probably made some missteps. Any of those things would have sufficed and would have landed very smoothly with people around here. No, there's no doubt about it.
It's funny because even when asked about hey, what did you learn? It'll be a quip of don't take the wrong job. As in, there's nothing else he learned from the entire experience, which again is fine. It's why I tend to just not want to delve into it.
I know.
Because there's really nothing that can be gleaned from it. But it always sort of just cracks me up that at no point will he ever just acknowledge that he had a lot of autonomy and control and was involved in its accelerating its own demise. He's never going to admit that at any point.
Not so far.
And so, I
don't know. Does it happen 20 years down the line where he finally?
Maybe it
I
never
would hope
does.
so.
And maybe it doesn't. It's not like it has to.
What
happen.
is he? 50? He's mid 40s, upper 40s.
Gotta be right near 50.
Right near 50. So when his coaching career is done in 10 years, less than 10 years, I don't know, when he's 60, Do you think he looks around and says, "Yeah, that version of myself was not the best."
No, I don't think he has that in him.
I wanted to believe in that when he left here or when he took the job at UCF. Like I wanted to believe that there was a day that would come and he would finally have like a come to Jesus and be like, you know what? I kind of messed that up. Like I just didn't handle that right. But now, since he's been there a year and every time he's ever been asked about it, every time he's ever talked about it, and I'm sure the crap he's saying behind the scenes is just nuts. Like I no longer believe that day is coming either.
No,
And that's a sad human story to me. Because like that's just not
growth.
Yeah.
It's a stunning lack of humility. It's a stunning lack of self-awareness. But I also sort of look at it like this. That is a man that's built on sheer self-confidence and had never really failed at anything in his life until then. And when you haven't failed and you don't know how to learn from failure, I don't know that it sets him up to be successful at UCF. I don't know what that looks like to be successful at UCF.
Like, what if he fails at UCF? What if it sucks at UCF? Like, then does he realize, oh crap, maybe I need to look inward?
He's going to blame UCF.
Or maybe it's just UCF.
Add UCF to the list.
Yeah. UCF wasn't the right job.
It wasn't enough of a fishbowl. Not enough people were coming up to me in Publix and asking for pictures.
I mean, part of it, when he first was let go and there was the whole, is he going to join the Nick Saban rehabilitation staff? And it's like, no, he doesn't have the ability to let someone else tell him what to do. Those days are done. Like he's never going to be an assistant coach again. It's just not how he's wired, which is fine. He just has to have success, or enough success, but he doesn't have to either.
Topic alert from F3 Walleye, including Frost. Which coach do you think set Nebraska back the furthest? Oh boy. What a topic.
I mean, do we want to dive into that right now? Do you want to save that?
We have a few minutes.
Do you have a strong opinion on this?
No, I don't. Do you?
Kind of, but it's not one that anyone's going to appreciate.
Oh, no. What is it?
What do you think it is?
Well, you said it's not what anyone's going to appreciate. Are you going to say Tom Osborne?
No. No, I could really make that argument because of various decisions that he made. It's the guy directly following Tom Osborne.
Yeah.
He did the least with the highest plateau that they had, and they've set themselves back the furthest from that point forward.
Yeah, I mean, my answer to the question would be, because I can never answer questions directly, but my answer to the question would be exactly what happened after when they decided to move on from Frank. Like the series,
yeah, that didn't help.
Yeah, it's just been a mess behind the scenes for a long time.
Well, and that's always a huge part of this. But that's one of the things about the Frost story. He had the most buy-in of any coach that I've ever covered by a substantial margin, and then all that goodwill was gone immediately.
Not immediately.
Not immediately, but through the course of time to the point where, then he's dealing. And I will say the one element of his time here that was awful is just the constant over-the-top gossip that a lot of it wasn't.
That sucked.
True. A lot of it was just completely made up.
I'm sure he's very jaded by that.
Yeah, and that has to be awful to deal with.
And he was here during COVID.
Also would have been awful.
Bad. It was bad.
I mean, his highest rating after the initial start would have been when he said that they'd play someone in Kazakhstan, but then didn't want to play in a bowl game.
People forget. Or he left it up to the team to vote on whether they play to a bowl game.
He didn't want to play in the bowl game.
And then they did not vote yes.
Crab Creek Chronicles lays it out pretty strongly.
Oh, really? You read it?
No, you read the excerpt of it.
What? It claimed that Frost didn't want to, or that it was Frost. Well, I know that it claimed that Frost didn't want to play in a bowl game, and that I completely accept. But was it his choice to not play in that bowl game?
I think largely it was, yeah.
Also,
they weren't going to have Luke McCaffrey, and they weren't going to have Adrian Martinez.
Right.
And he didn't want to play with whatever the third string quarterback was.
Right. Didn't also say that he came back into Bill Moose's office. Bill Moose claimed that he came back in the office. Was like, oh, I actually do want to play in a bowl game. I don't know if I believe that from the Crab Creek Chronicles.
Crab Creek. We need a Crab Creek refresher. I think we got to jump back.
Because I
into
feel
the
I remember
Chronicles.
that being like said that he came back. He's like, actually, I do want to play in a bowl game, and it's like too late.
John writes in on the text line, you guys forget that Scott Frost and only Scott Frost had to coach a team during COVID. Great point. He was the only coach in America during that time.
No one else had to deal with it.
Rattlesnake Ron writes in, the man played for the Jets. How much more humility can you get?
It's great timing because Mike Sauter, I think, is listening.
Hi,
So,
Mike. Hi, Mike. Yes, we've received a message from our dear friend Mike S., one of the fill-ins of this show's history. There's no doubt about that. We got some tweets here as well before we take a break and get to Mitch Sherman coming up on the other side. Good kind of a meme here from Mustache Adam when you see another story about Scott Frost wanting to talk about Nebraska, and then it's my tweet from 4 days ago about the Royals that says, "You've got to be kidding me." Joel writes in, the introduction sure sounds like Scott Frost loves to do a lot of things that aren't coaching football. He ran with the Bulls.
a lot of this was before I think he was a head coach.
Yes. I remember the Grand Canyon thing. That was the summer before, because wasn't there a
The summer
Marty
of 2018.
wasn't there like a Marty McGee thing? Wasn't a Marty
Marty Smith
thing?
Could have been.
I think there was a Marty Smith thing where he like joined him on the mountain, on top of a mountain.
It sounds like a Marty Smith thing.
And then I remember that being a thing that we were just any Frost content that we could get. And
Sure.
then we figured out that Marty Smith was hanging out with him on the Grand Canyon. We're like, yes, sign me up. I think it was like a small, whatever it was. But yeah, I do remember
Summer
that.
of 2018 is what the story says.
Summer of 2018 was indeed that
So
time.
before it all went to crap.
Sam says, the annual spring of football article about Nebraska and Scott Frost, perhaps one of the greatest new traditions in college football. That is a great point. We should add this to our college football calendar.
The Scott Frost story.
I mean,
Yes.
it's really pretty boring right now, right?
It's
Nothing
hard,
going on.
though.
It's draft week. So the attention is off college football. Drop a little college football story, and still the best way to get surefire clicks is to talk about Scott Frost.
No doubt about
Because
it.
like the article suggests, it is a bit of a fishbowl and people will click on it. I clicked.
People love the, like, what is this former coach doing as it relates to specifically him? And then if Bo Pelini ever surfaced, him as well.
Whoa. If Brett McMurphy could do a Bo Pelini article,
Who apparently told him that it was the hardest job in America.
what's up with all these coaches who don't work here telling people that it's hard?
If there was two coaches that have very similar personalities in wildly different ways, Frost and Pelini would get there.
What do you think Matt Rule will say when
I don't know. I think it'll be a lot more like Mike Riley.
it happens? You think so?
Yeah, I like.
Because Matt Rule will still be in there. Like he's still going to be in the coaching world.
Yeah.
If he's not, let's just say 2 or 3 years or whatever. He's not around here anymore.
I think
he's still going to be in the coaching world.
I think he knows how to play public relations in a way that Scott Frost is uninterested.
He
in
has
doing.
said some things just side, sort of like dropped them in sentences about the Panthers where I'm like, ooh, I bet if Carolina heard about this, they probably wouldn't like that very much.
Yeah, but then you see what Carolina has been post him until this last year, where they made it as a losing.
That's
football
right.
team
Have
in
some
the
respect.
playoffs. As a losing football team in the playoffs.
Bryce Young, quarterback of the future.
They almost beat the Rams.
They almost beat the Rams. My one shining moment. It was the greatest moment in sport for my sports teams this year.
That for this year,
It was a bad year for my sports teams.
I don't know. Creighton baseball could pull you out of it.
They could. Absolutely. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back with Mitch Sherman after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, just checking off boxes of the offseason. Scott Frost article is now complete in the books. Certain to be no conversation off of that. We're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Mitch, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I was in the car a couple minutes ago, and I heard you guys talking about Scott Frost, but I can't say that I know the reason why exactly, because I was at a high school baseball game until late last night, and then watching the Royals urinate all over themselves. So
Yep.
What is going on?
He just said he didn't want to talk about Nebraska for the 14th time in an On3 article today.
Okay.
Yeah, and Brett McMurphy did his Brett McMurphy thing. So
Okay. All right. Just
Basically
wanted to
the
make sure I
extent of
didn't need to jump off this call. And
No
read that.
new news to go on with that. But we do have a question for you.
Yeah.
What is your favorite Denzel Washington movie?
It's definitely why is the name of the movie escaping me right now?
Training Day?
No,
he got
No.
game.
no, it's the football movie, and
You're right.
where he's the coach.
Remember the
Remember
Titans.
Remember the Titans. God, that's one of
The
my
word
favorite
remember
movies.
is in there, Mitch.
I couldn't think of it.
You forgot
I'm just
about the
old.
Titans.
Guys. I'm just old. You were asking the question about how old Scott Frost is, and I always know how old Scott Frost is because we're the same age, and he is 51. So it sucks because you forget things like Remember the Titans, which is a movie I've watched and known for 25 years or however long it's been out. But that's my favorite Denzel Washington movie.
As we know, Scott.
Love him as Coach Boone.
Right. As we know, Scott Frost is very perceptive as he was able to, decipher that you were in a room alone that one time during a
was.
Zoom press conference.
I wasn't actually allowed, but it was that was a funny joke.
Are you alone? That was a COVID press conference, right?
No, it was at the Horseshoe.
Oh,
It was the first game of the COVID
yeah.
season, and we conducted the post-game press conference. They were quickly discovering after the game that there was no reason to be there because we were not going to see anyone in person, and we conducted the press conference via Zoom. And I had removed the mask from my face so that I could ask a question and be heard on the bad computer microphone or whatever was operating my Zoom at the time. And he made a joke, and I didn't get it in the moment because I was on deadline or whatever, and it was all very funny.
I asked this of Connor earlier, and it led to a conversation. I'd be curious, what first comes to mind for you. But what do you think, when you think about what's holding Nebraska back from making a sort of having a breakthrough year or just having kind of a breakthrough as a program over the last decade? What stands out the most, particularly when you think about Matt Rule and what this program is as it goes into 2026?
Matt Rule's time in Nebraska, the program, the individual teams have not been able to get momentum, and that comes with some kind of continuity. And if you just look at the changes that they've had to make in every phase of the game, from the leadership, coordinator positions, down to the key players, and that's part of college football today, the transient nature of players. But it's been extreme in the fact that he's coached at Nebraska just 3 years, and you've had 3 defensive coordinators and a big shakeup at the offensive coordinator spot. And we know what's happened with special teams and what they've been through. So I think that's where it starts. It's tough to get momentum when you've had to go through. And I credit Matt Rule for being quick to make change when he knows that it's needed. He doesn't sit around and wait and say, well, some coaches at Nebraska have been too patient and played things out and said, even though this certain specific position or position group or whatever unit was headed down a bad road, let's see how it does for another year with this structure. And that's not what Matt Rule has done. But you got to be able to there's a balance there, and you have to be able to get some traction and to develop momentum in at least a couple phases of the game at one time. And they haven't been able to get that going. It's been, hey, there's a good defense here, there's a good offensive situation there, or, for a half of a season or 3/4 of a season, you're playing really well on special teams. But momentum and having multiple parts working together, it's been been a challenge.
Mitch, do you have any critiques or nitpicks about the plans for the stadium project? Whether it be, how long it took to get to this point where it's finally, sort of coming together now to, what the actual improvements to the stadium are going to be. Like, is there any areas where you wish they would have done more or less?
I'm sure I could pick it apart. I haven't chosen to do that. I don't know if that's all that productive. It's not my money that's going into it. I would say that I'm scratching my head a little bit over the maintenance bill and the suggestion that it's cost $200 $200 million. It'd be nice if it was $200.
It would be. We would be talking about this probably. Yeah.
The suggestion that it costs $200 million to fix the things that they have been putting off. It's not Troy Danon's fault. Let's make that clear. But that even exists in this moment here as they embark on a big project is troubling, because Nebraska is not one of these schools that needed a lifeline from the Big Ten, a financial lifeline to join, or its athletic department was going to go bankrupt. Like, we've heard for decades about how Nebraska is a self-sustaining department and they're financially responsible and they turn a profit every year and don't get any money from the university and don't get any money from the state. And then the next thing is, we have $200 million in deferred maintenance that needs to be fixed to the football stadium before we can go through and do this big renovation. Like, how did that happen? Like, if that happened, on a much smaller scale, like to my house or to your business, that would be a problem. Like, you should fix these things as they go along. And I know it's probably not that simple, and some of the stuff gets uncovered and realized when they start doing construction. Like, they rip something up because part of the stadium is going to be replaced, and oh look, there's concrete and rebar from 1923. Okay, fine, but like, you knew it was there. And I feel like there should have been a better effort from people in facilities or somewhere in the business aspect of the athletic department years ago to have kept the stadium to a place where it doesn't today in 2026, 27 cost $200 million to just get it back to ground zero.
Kind of bouncing around here, just sort of sticking with Nebraska as an athletic department as a whole. What would you sort of ascribe as to why so many programs seem to be having so much success? I mean, whether it's Nebraska softball is number one in a poll, you have Nebraska baseball is playing really well, Nebraska basketball coming off the season they've had, the gymnastics team is having success. The wrestling program is flying high under Mark Manning. Like, where does this all sort of come from a Nebraska athletics program that just a few scant years ago was doing poorly in the Directors Cup and really wasn't doing well in anything that wasn't just volleyball? Yeah.
I was thinking about that over the weekend as I was keeping tabs on Nebraska baseball and softball. And it wasn't just that they were winning on Saturday and Sunday. Those two teams were playing in the Big Ten, one against another nationally ranked team, another on the road. And they were just pummeling the competition. I mean, you talked about run rule victories for both of those teams on both days on the weekend, on Saturday and Sunday. And I thought the same thing. Like, how did Nebraska get to this place where like USC and Minnesota and these other programs that they've played, and it's not just those, that's just two examples, but you laid it out. I mean, look at volleyball, and that's been going on for a long time, but there's plenty of other sports that are thriving right now. How do we get to this place? And I don't know. It's been an evolution, I think, in the culture within the athletic department, and it started to a certain degree, or it changed from maybe where it was, I think, under Trev Albert's leadership. And Trev definitely put his money where his mouth was, in as far as supporting all of the programs at the university. Isn't it funny how a few years later, like, there's multiple conversations where we go back and say, yeah, look at what Trev Alberts did. Like, that was actually pretty good. Some of the sting, I guess, is gone from the way that he left, and not that that was a good thing, the way that he left Nebraska, but he definitely did good things while he was here. And then, combined with the fact that Bill Moser wrote a book about what a mess his own tenure was at Nebraska, and you start to piece those things together and say, yeah, it turned. There's a specific time where I think the culture within the athletic department turned around, and maybe not the whole athletic department as much as the culture within a lot of different sports. And you look at some of those sports that are succeeding, and you see Mark Manning and Ronda Rivell and now Will Bolt, who's been at Nebraska for a while, Fred Hoiberg, Amy Williams. Like, these are coaches that have been allowed to implement their systems and given time to create success. So, like, that's a common thread right there, is that they haven't been quick to get rid of coaches, when there was a bump in the road. And then, in addition to that, they're in the Big Ten and they have a ton of money and a ton of resources. And if there's something that they want to do, and I know they're beating other Big Ten teams, but not everybody's in the position that Nebraska is in financially. USC certainly is not with all of its programs. UCLA is not, and plenty of others. Like, they're given the resources to, and generally when they ask for something, like, look at Ronda Rivell and her budget. Like, I've seen numbers that have been published nationally about softball operating budgets around the country, and Nebraska's in the top 5 in the country, and it's not an outlier. That's where they are in just about everything with these sports that the school is investing in, and it's most of their sports. Like, they care about it. They actually care about it on a state level and on a university level, and that's it's making a difference right now.
Mitch, I bet, I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, I'll bounce this off of you. Like, I bet if you did the operating budgets slash, what are you putting in your program from an NIL perspective or rev share, whatever it might be, for, let's just say, men's and women's basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball. I bet, wouldn't you think Nebraska is top 5 spender in the league in each one of those? And in football, I guess I don't know where they would sit, but you point out a pretty interesting difference right there. I mean, Nebraska is trying at these other sports. There's no doubt.
Yeah, that would be interesting. And it would be kind of cherry picking the results if you just picked the sports that Nebraska was good in and chose to add up the operating costs of those sports. I mean, some schools care a ton about, women's hockey, and Nebraska doesn't have that. Or some schools care a ton about lacrosse, or, whatever it is. There are sports that Nebraska is not thriving in, mostly because they don't compete in those sports. In the sports where Nebraska chooses to compete, they're generally pretty good. Like, Nebraska's not known as a tennis power, and they've not invested in tennis or golf, for reasons that are understandable when you walk outside in March, in the same way that some schools like in Texas or Oklahoma might do. And I don't think that their operating budget, Nebraska's operating budget, would reflect well against schools in the South. But in these other sports that we're talking about, where you see Nebraska competing on a national level, yeah, I think if you chose your list and you added up the sports here that we're talking about that Nebraska's doing well in, they would rank right at the top.
Yeah.
I mean, in the top 3 as far as what their investment is.
I think so too. Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. All right, Mitch, we will let you go. As always, appreciate it, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks, guys.
Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. And like we said last week, be on the lookout for that story this week that Mitch has coming out probably at some point. Maybe later in the week.
I looked. I don't think it's out yet.
It is not out yet. Let's take a break. We'll round out the hour after this on 1620 The Zone. I got a couple minutes here. Maybe this will bleed over into the 9 o'clock hour. Welcome back. Happer and Schaefer, by the way, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. So all this stadium talking stadium. They're definitely going to put the naming rights up, right? This whole revenue, I mean, we are in the revenue generating era, right? We came out of the player empowerment era. We are now in the revenue generating era.
Would they do it to where it's like Memorial Stadium presented by
maybe
Kind of like what Arrowhead does now with like
Zesto's ice cream?
I mean, of course, you don't want to disrespect the troops in any way, shape, or
I think I
form.
just disrespected them by snickering there. So.
You don't want to like so. Admittedly, it's a very difficult thing to change your name from Memorial Stadium, right? At the same time, it represents an open and blank canvas for you to slap a sponsor on there.
What sponsor do you most want to see on Memorial?
See, I don't care. I hear people have these conversations all the time. It doesn't really matter to me what kind of sponsor they have, because for the most part, people will always call it either the first sponsor, or they've always called it for 100 years, which is Memorial Stadium in this case. But I like
the people that call it the Quest or the CenturyLink.
There's times where I use them all interchangeably. Luckily, the chai
everyone knows what you're
has caught
talking
on.
about.
Yes,
Like that's the thing about that.
yes.
Because what was it? It was the Chuck Box.
Yeah.
And what was it before?
Well, it's TD Ameritrade,
but it was called the.
Well, it's called Charles. It's currently called Charles Schwab Field.
Okay. Yeah.
And then it was TD Ameritrade.
Yeah, I couldn't remember which one it was first.
Yes.
That's what I mean. Like you just.
The ballpark downtown.
Generally, yeah.
So, like, this whole revenue generating thing paves the way for them to. I mean, they're definitely going to do that, right?
I don't know.
I just figured. I mean, especially when you consider that, I don't think the scope of the project is so. At least in the initial release, at least in the initial information that they put out, it didn't seem like it was so like corporate pilled that, there's, the capacity is coming down to X and we're going to have X amount of corporate suites and stuff like that. Like, obviously that stuff will be in there, but in order to get the revenue generation that you're trying to accomplish here, you're going to just take every avenue you possibly can.
Yeah.
You're going to I just want people to be prepared for this. Like, you're going to rename the stadium.
I am not sure I believe that happens. I'm just not sure.
Is that a prediction? Put it on the predictions.
I don't know if I feel so strongly that it's a proclamation for me.
Okay. I can
proclamate. I welcome you to
I can proclaim Happer and Schaefer proclamations. Got it.
What do we have so far?
Joey does a great job of keeping all these things together somehow. So far, April 14th, Louisville won't be a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Happer endorsed.
Okay.
April 15th, Schaefer, Nebraska gets to 6 wins. They start 5-0. Oregon Friday night game. They beat one of Iowa, Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon. Yes to 23 points per conference game. Calandria throws 9 interceptions.
There's so much in there that's
and then
wrong.
I did my predictions as well on those topics.
I'm glad I'm not on an island by myself.
And then for some reason, April 17th, Wesley Rosa will get minutes for the Jays this season.
Okay, that was but minutes needs to be defined in there.
It just says minutes. April 21st, Happer Memorial Stadium will be renamed.
When you say renamed, it means like
no, you could throw just we'll have a corporate sponsor.
We'll have a corporate sponsor.
Have a corporate sponsor.
We know what that looks like.
Attached within 3 years.
Ooh, 3 years.
Okay.
Within 3 years.
It would have to be a Nebraska sponsor, I feel. Like something that's been built here, like a Runza or like you said, Zestos.
Could be. Zest.
That would be amazing.
That would be one of the wildest.
Zesto Stadium Memorial.
Where are they getting millions and millions of dollars? And they can't
even, the blue
they're not even open for 300 days a year.
The one out
downtown, they're not. though.
Yeah, that one's not.
All right. I have a proclamation, and that's what we're doing today. All right. We'll take a break. 9 o'clock hour coming up. We'll still talk to Jacob Padilla. We'll get your thoughts after this as well. Coming back on 1620 The Zone. All right. Green for the green, folks. Another opportunity for you to win stuff. Enter online 1620thezone.com. And by stuff, I mean 5K sweepstakes powered by Benjamin Franklin Plumbing. You can improve your golf game, get better equipment, get a membership, or even repair the damages due to your miscalculated golf swing. That's right. Shout out to Sergio Garcia. Contest runs through May 19th. That is the Green for the Green 5K sweepstakes powered by Benjamin Franklin Plumbing. Find it online, 1620thezone.com. The Royals stink, number one. Number two, have announced that they will hold a special event regarding the club's future tomorrow at 10 a.m. So if you wanted a nice little roadmap on how to do a new stadium while your team sucks, enter the Kansas City Royals. Never a worse time as far as how fans feel about your team than right now. Announce the stadium.
Well, maybe they can just time being good with the arrival of the new stadium.
Well, in theory, that's how it turns out. But, when the team is playing bad, we've seen it around here a lot, right? When the team is playing bad, there's nothing you could do.
Nothing.
There's nothing you could do that makes people happy. And that would include building the ballpark of your dreams downtown in Kansas City for the Royals. And people will say, this is dumb. Please win games.
Please win games. Look, it could go off like it did for Cleveland. They built their park. They opened it in like 94. They started winning and never stopped.
It's mostly true.
Yeah. I mean, they had some like kind of bad years in there, but it's largely been a pretty consistent, at least 80 win program.
Yeah.
So it could happen. You never know. And before that, they were the worst team in baseball for a long time.
I hope we don't have to wait 3 years for them to have a pulse, but
they have too much talent to be that bad.
I think so.
They have too much talent to be as bad as they are right now.
Agreed.
That's why I feel bad for Seth Lugo.
I know.
Not John Schreiber.
You feel bad for very specific people. You should, and we need to do our blame pie chart.
I feel bad for you.
Yeah, thank you. We need to do our blame pie chart with the Royals.
That would be hilarious.
We need to debut the blame pie chart.
Should we ask Sorensen to put one together for Friday?
Yes, we should. Send him a text.
Right,
his show just ended. Give him if you could please put together a blame pie chart that goes up to 100. We'll make him a graphic that accompanies this. It goes to 100. And however, obviously people who are going to be on there are JJ Piccolo, and I mean, maybe even Dayton Moore goes on there for drafting like half of this team. And then Alex Zumwalt, Matt Quattrero. I'm sure he hates some other people that are involved in there too. I think you have to include Sam Long. I would blame Sam Long for some of these things, even though he's pitching somewhere in Japan right now. So please send that to.
All right. So this is what I'm texting him.
Okay.
We have a request of you. Please put together a blame pie chart. Have as many slices as you want. Just make sure it adds up to 100.
That's right. For the Royals and their disaster, or as we like to call it, a disaster fee. It is a disaster fee at the moment. Not a disaster fee is the Nebraska baseball team. Nebraska, Kansas baseball blood feud tonight, round 2 at the Hog in Kansas. I like that Kansas is good. I like that they are a little, they're a little chippy.
Yeah.
Nebraska,
I like that there's juice for this specific game.
Nebraska is good. Nebraska certainly doesn't mind, giving a little yapping across the.
There's a world where Nebraska could be the instigator. That's a possibility.
Oh no, I
you
very
can't
much
have
believe
this many
that.
beefs in a row. They didn't have any with USC though that I noticed. That was
no, not really.
There was nothing that happened in that series.
Yeah, much less fist bumping and staring into dugouts and things of that nature.
Mostly because I assume USC just had like the glazed over look after Friday night.
Well, they had all their eye black on. You probably wouldn't have been able to tell.
And it went just as well as it does as a JJ McCarthy start.
I think Nebraska is This is actually a halfway decent topic. I don't think that I don't know that people will accept the premise of it. What did Jake say?
Oh dear Lord, this will be the most depressing pie chart ever. I yelled for 7 minutes straight to begin our show today.
It's so bad. It was so. Last night was so bad. So bad.
When I get in my car, I am going to listen to the first 7 minutes of early break,
Yeah.
and I am going to laugh maniacally as I'm driving towards the Dodge Express.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
I'm just glad I went to bed after it was 7-2.
You
I would've
made
saw
the right
hope.
choice. I
I did.
stayed up. I stayed and waited until the very last
And they
hour.
gave that glimmer of hope
Yep.
that was in there.
It happened so fast. They got 3 runs instantly.
Yeah.
And then immediately got 3 outs instantly. It was like a roller coaster. It just plummeted immediately.
It was a Mamba?
It was exactly like the Mamba, of which I have been on. Anyway, topic alert. Nebraska baseball is kind of a heel.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Nebraska baseball is kind of a villain.
Nebraska baseball is like, now they don't play this way, but it's how I felt every time Cleveland would play the Yankees and Brett Gardner was involved. And he just annoyed the living hell out of me.
Nebraska baseball is Brett Gardner.
That's what I'm taking out of it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Red ass baseball boy that plays really hard, that lets you know when he's having success.
Yelling and screaming a lot.
That
Now, Nebraska has not been guilty of banging bats up against the top of the
Right.
dugout.
there are definitely some flaws with this comparison.
Yeah.
One, they don't really play like Brett Gardner in the sense that they are a little bit more powerful with the bats than what you would remember Brett Gardner.
He did play at Tiny
But he
Baby
had some
Ballpark.
critical, tiny home runs that that were critical for the Yankees.
Nebraska also plays at Tiny Baby Ballpark.
Yeah. There may be something there.
Maybe Nebraska's the Yankees.
But I always use Brett Gardner as my, the softball players I never particularly enjoyed seeing.
Oh, good one. Just really trying hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm competitive, and you should be competitive, but you've gone too far, sir.
Yep.
Like, that's basically what...
I'm not enjoying my time playing
Yeah.
against you. I don't think anybody has really enjoyed their time playing against Nebraska baseball.
And I think
this
that's
year.
how they want it.
Absolutely.
They don't want to give you an inch. They want to push you in the dirt, and then they want to stomp on your head.
They're bullies.
Yeah, I kind of love it.
It is definitely a path.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of sense given I think this is the kind of team they want. Like, this is the kind of chemistry they want. I mean, all of this is separate from how good they are.
Right.
Right? They are
This
good.
is a mentality.
They are good because they are good.
Right.
Like they are good because they have good hitters, good pitchers, and good defenders, right? Like
Yep.
they have all of those things. But what gives them this extra little oomph and a little chip on their shoulder and a little bleep you is what we're describing.
Yeah.
And that is that
And they
gives you
want
the
you to know
opportunity to go to the next level. Like
Right.
it really does. I mean, like all the best teams have that sort of identity. We talk to these teams, 8 of them every year that come to Omaha for the College World Series. Some teams play like that. Some teams don't. Some teams play little West Coast laid back, and it works for them because they got a bunch of weirdos on their team. Some teams have one weirdo, that they stack the cups on their heads on top of the dugout.
Oh, man.
Every team has a different, very specific sort of chemistry. And that is what has been missing, frankly, from Nebraska baseball for a few years now. Even though they've won back-to-back Big Ten, titles in the tournament anyway.
And again, and you hear this a lot, good teams really embody their coach. And we saw that with basketball. I thought Nebraska basketball embodied Fred Hoiberg in a lot of ways. I think this baseball team,
No doubt.
that's Will Bolt. I don't know what he comes across publicly for people. I have enough stories or have spent enough time around him covering the team a little bit, but also just talking with Brunts. Will Bolt wants everybody else to know it when Nebraska's rolling too, but he's mostly concerned with Nebraska giving everything they have in every situation that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do the, a little bit of a chest puffing, the bat tosses.
When you can visibly detect what a team's culture is, what a team's chemistry is, that means they're good.
When it's
it pretty much unless they suck.
when it's a positive,
Right.
thing.
Right.
Like when
Like,
you can visibly
if you
detect
can
that
tell
they, you know,
that they're all moving in the same direction, they all clearly have a very similar mindset, right?
Yeah. And this
That
team
pretty
does.
much means they're good.
And it's also, you know, it's why I think there's confidence with who's ever at the plate. Like that guy can be the one to get the rally started.
And so they're going to meet a team tonight who
Who's very
I think
similar.
is the same in a lot of different ways.
And naturally, they clash.
Naturally, they do not like each other. There was a lot of staring, a lot of yelling and screaming, a lot of this and that back in Lincoln a few weeks ago. And it'll be the same in Lawrence tonight. Number one, good weather. Number two, they have this thing. You're gonna be annoyed by this watching on TV on ESPN Plus. They have this student section, and like they like to take their shirts off.
Yeah, I remember this from Nebraska's played games of Kansas pretty consistently over the last few years.
The frats have embraced going to the hog, as they call it, and they have gone
frat hogs.
They have gone all in on KU baseball, which is very, very different from like the time where Nebraska was in the Big 12. It was just like this wasteland kind of. But they got a pretty good situation going on down there.
I want to say they upset Nebraska in the Big 12 tournament once, and it was very confusing to me. It was not the type of team you would expect Nebraska to lose to.
They were always just okay, and
Yeah.
but the problem was like Nebraska was so good that it was just it was really difficult to lose to teams like that.
Tucker Timmerman getting the start tonight.
Tucker. Probably see some price bender going on.
You're going to see a lot of guys.
Someone said they wondered if they bring back Horn. Like, I don't see a world where Horn pitches.
I don't think you. I think you're going to kind of utilize them across multiple games in the.
Have them for the weekend.
In the weekend, I don't think it makes sense to try to bring them back for an inning or.
So that's the difficulty of a game like tonight. And we talk about this with the Nebraska Kraton games all the time. Like, yeah, you want to win it, and yeah, you really don't like the team that's on the other side, but you can't sacrifice. You can't sacrifice this weekend to get tonight. That's it.
Right.
That's the story. And so we'll see what bubbles up tonight in Lawrence. An old Big 12 game. I think Kraton still plays Kansas in a couple weeks.
Ooh. Are you gonna? Is it there?
Who do you root for, Nebraska fan? Is it Kraton or Kansas? I think it's here.
I'm guessing it's rooting for Kansas.
What?
Because the hope is that you beat Kansas and then you want their RPI to stay higher. Where if they lose to Kraton,
What if they lose to Kraton on May 12th?
And what if Nebraska
loses to Kraton on May 12th?
That presents its own possibility.
Hmm.
Basically, they don't want anyone in this scenario to lose to Kraton.
You could say that you're rooting for Big Meteor.
I mean, I don't really care enough. Nebraska's going to be in the NCAA tournament, and I don't think they're going to host a regional. So it's like
put it on the board.
Not quite proclamation territory,
Okay.
but I just think there's a lot has to happen for them to host, and I don't know that they can win all of those games down the stretch.
Okay.
But so I don't think it really matters like what region they're a 2 seed in. They're going to have to beat somebody to get through it.
It's gonna be a tough out. Hopefully, it'd be funny if they were the 2 seed in the Lawrence regional, or if
I've thought about that.
or if Kansas was the 2 seed in the Lincoln regional.
I was like, well, maybe
it's very possible that the two are paired together.
If Kansas sweeps this, maybe we just end up with these teams playing each other again down the line.
Very possible. Very
And then
possible.
a bunch of Nebraska fans looking to take over Lawrence.
And then Kraton comes along as the 4. And then KU Kraton rematch of game 1 of the opener of the regional last year in Fayetteville that Kraton won. Kraton beats KU, plays Nebraska in game 2, and it's the winner's bracket game.
So Creighton's a 4.
Yeah, who's the 3?
Let's figure out a good 3 here.
Well, I mean, I suppose we can make Kraton the 3 and UNO the 4.
UNO would need to win the Summit.
Yeah, sure.
Which is possible.
Very.
What a region that would be.
That would be
That would literally be a region.
That would be a nightmare and an awesome thing at the same time.
That would be pretty amazing.
Yeah, it'd be awesome, I think.
I would be in support of it.
All right. You never know. You never know what you might see come regional time. We'll come back with Jacob Padilla. He's up next on 1620 The Zone. And we are joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline by our good friend Jacob Adele from Herd Sports. Jacob, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing all right. More importantly, how are you? I know you were going through it a little bit with the baseball last night.
Yeah, they suck, and it's April. So what happens is, now I didn't prepare for them to be this bad in April, but like they will like just gradually and almost imperceptibly get better throughout the season. And then we'll look up in August and they'll be like, oh, they're kind of like 500. That's not that bad. And so you can't be mad at things. It's just an endless cycle. And then you get mildly excited about next year in September.
Yeah. Well, at least you got your boy Bobby Witt, right?
I do have him. I'm excited to have him. He's not really doing much, but I am excited to still have him. And you have your boy, the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, I'm ready. It's got underway. Got off to got a few interesting results so far, but obviously a lot of favorites holding on.
What's the best series? Like if you're just what's the singular best series of this first round?
I think you got to look at the one we watched last night, Minnesota and Denver. And
is it because they hate each other?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Just the way that game closed, like I don't quite know how they pulled that off, but we got a 1-1 series there, and yeah, it's too bad. Like obviously Anthony Edwards isn't totally healthy; he's playing through something. But yeah, I think that one's probably. I think we're looking at a long series there, and the Rudy Gobert and Nikola Jokic like dunking on each other back to back.
It's great.
Like you don't often see Jokic go for that. Like he'll lay up like an uncontested layup, like a breakaway with nobody around him. But like
no, when he gets angry, he starts dunking on people. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that I've seen that at least not recently. Like him going that aggressively for it. And that was after Gobert got that kind of like the putback slam on him and like said like, hey, too small over here. He's like, all right, enough of this. And he went downhill himself and got him right back. So yeah, I'm very much excited about this series. I'm looking forward to, and I think that's pretty much the universal. A lot of people I think thought it would be the one to watch going into the playoffs, and through 2 games so far, I think we've got a chance for a special one.
Do you agree with Jaden McDaniel's assessment that nobody on the Nuggets plays defense and they're, quote, their whole team, they're all bad defenders?
I mean, Aaron Gordon's a pretty good defender. He's established that throughout his long career. I mean, Peyton Watson's hurt. He would go out there. Christian Brown can hold his own. But yeah, it's not there. That is kind of the reason they're in this spot and not a higher seed is because they're not great defensively. And but yeah, that's certainly I love the chatter, just adding a little bit to again an already fiery series.
All right, Jacob, let's go to Kraton here real quick. Well, not real quick. We'll go in pretty deep here. So the first question is, do you think they're done? Is there anybody else that's coming along on this roster? They have, I believe, according to my math, they have 3 open spots remaining, which is kind of a lot. I don't know that you want to fill it all because of some potential impending rule changes. Like there's a lot of sort of arms to this, but do you think they're done as it stands right now?
The 5 for 5 thing is certainly interesting, and it'll be fascinating to see how coaches do handle kind of their roster management and rounding things out this offseason. I mean, I for the most part, I think they are done in terms of going after like high caliber targets, high profile targets. I do think they're going to look to round out the roster because you need practice squad guys, you need scout team guys, and guys to round out the roster. So you can go throughout a season and do the things you want to do, and maybe get some guys in there that maybe a guy with upside, maybe a guy, good teammate, depending on just kind of who's out there, who's available. You never know. Obviously, you got a few guys in the portal that haven't landed anywhere. We'll see kind of what happens there. But yeah, for the most part, I think it's mostly that they've got the team, unless something just kind of like stumbles into their lap. I think for the most part, they've got the team, the rotation they're going to work with, and now it's just about finding those pieces to round out the roster. And because, like you said, they got 3 spots to fill, and you're going to want to fill most of those at least.
Jacob, it seems like they went to work. They brought in some guys from the portal and have put their roster together here. And I think the question that everybody is sort of curious about as you look at this team is, will Wesley Rosa get minutes?
Will he get what?
Minutes.
Yeah, that is certainly an excellent question. I think ultimately that'll be answered once they get on the practice court and see kind of how he kind of holds up against their guys. I mean, 7'2", massive.
He's tall.
Yeah. So like obviously can rebound almost 4 blocks a game at the JUCO level. Fouls a lot, but as a backup 5, you don't necessarily need a guy out there playing 25 minutes. So 2 fouls, so be it. But that's one where I think that they have to get the guys there on the court. There's certainly a chance that he's not ready, and it's just more of a developmental play. But if he gets out there and shows that he can like fill a role and can give them what they need, even 5 to 10 minutes a game, then it's worth having and exploring. And then I think you've got Jason Green still as a I'm sure we'll see him play some 5 at least. Just I think it'll probably be more strategically than out of necessity this year, and not necessarily 30 minutes a game at that spot. We'll see kind of how Arun say how he progresses and how many minutes they can give him. Obviously, foul trouble was a problem for him at Providence as well, and he was kind of low 20s in terms of minutes per game for them. So they have to. That's certainly a spot they have to figure out. I'm guessing that among the roster spots, so they'll probably maybe look to get another big just for practice squad purposes, and we'll see if that guy if the guy they find would he be more ready to play than Rosa. I mean, those guys will have to go play it out on the court, but certainly got some options here, and it's up to those guys to sort it out. I do like kind of just the mold of getting more size and rim protection and rebounding, like to back up Arunse, kind of a guy that'll bring some similar things. I don't think he's as bouncy, but he obviously is bigger. So, and then you do have Green as a change up. I mean, Trout, if you need to, can really go full spacing for brief stretches or whatever. So you've got some options to mix it up and play a different style. But I think that rim protection was a huge priority for the team coming off of season when they had none at all.
This team definitely seems, as it's structured right now, and what they got out of the transfer portal for Kraton seems at least more balanced in that it's not so heavy at one position. It looks like, as you can math it out, there's a couple guys really at each spot, 1 to 5, where you can go down. With that being said, Jacob, what does it look like to you? Like, does it make more sense compared to last year's team? And I don't know that we were really saying that a whole lot around this time last year as they were going through the acquisition of players. So keep that in mind as well. But it does feel like you have some relatively defined roles or at least positions based on the players you've got.
Yeah, kind of the one question mark there is Jason Green and where he slots in and how Huss views him and where he can best help the team. Obviously, we talked about before that the 4 spot is probably his natural fit, but I don't know that you want to limit him for what you expect to get out of McAndrew and hope to play him. Like, I think Jason's too good to just be playing 10 minutes a game at the backup 4. So we'll see kind of how Huss views his skill set within his version of Kraton basketball, and how much can he play on the 3? How much will they play him at the 5? I don't know. I think you have to play him at the 3 through 5 there, just to have him on the court enough to impact the team the way that he should, just based on what he showed this past year, where he was the team's probably most reliable and consistent performer, considering both ends of the floor. And obviously he's not ideal fit at the 3. Defensively can struggle a little bit in terms of foot speed out there. But I mean, depending on the matchups, they've got some flexibility to move some things around. And kind of with the McAndrew Green combination there, I think there's some interchangeability there on both ends to where you can probably get by that way. But overall, I think I have some concerns, and especially first blush, like they didn't really get a real point guard.
Correct.
While
Yep.
adding guys that rely on somebody to set them up, whereas Urunse is strictly a catch and finish type of guy. It'll be dunker spot, pick and roll, that type of thing. Like you're not going to play through him inside. Obviously, Enos is primarily a spot up catch and shoot guy. We saw that last year. That's where he excelled and didn't do a whole lot of self creation. McAndrew obviously is an off ball shooter for the most part, with some ability to kind of add around that, but again, he's not a guy that you're going to play through heavily. But so like I do have that concern, and then you also like, all right, who similar to last year and how that turned out, who is the all conference caliber talent here? Do you have a guy at that level? Like, but I also see kind of the vision that I think they're high on BJ Davis's ability. I mean, you look at San Diego State last year, and they didn't really have a point guard. They had like 4 or 5 guys, averaged like 2 assists a game.
Yep.
So it was very much a by committee, and everybody did a little bit of the initiating and all that type of stuff. And obviously, that's also a very different offensive system than what he's going to play in at Kraton. I think they're high on his ability to get in the paint, his quickness, and they think he can be that guy that kind of starts the chain reaction where maybe he's not going to go get 6 assists a game, but he is going to get in the paint and kick it out. And then maybe that guy will make the one more pass and get a wide open 3 off of that, off of collapsing the defense and making them react that way. And then I also think they're high on Control Harmon, and I think he's going to play right away. And I know that his playmaking is the part of his game that Crane's most excited about. So I think this signals that as well, like, hey, this kid's going to have a chance to go out there and be that playmaker that they didn't go and add in the portal. But then beyond that, like you listen to what Huss said in his introductory press conference. The let it fly is here to stay, and they're going to try to be more disruptive on defense. And I think you added guys that can kind of fit into that mold with Enos, and obviously bringing Schwartz back and Caden Edwards. We'll see where he fits into that mix, but he's a guy that showed he could shoot last year in limited minutes. Obviously McAndrew coming back, adding to that, Greer, Trout. Like, you've got a lot of perimeter firepower there. I mean, Davis can shoot as well. So you got a lot of guys that can really shoot the ball. Heck, even Jason Green obviously improved in that area last year. So it's going to be a high volume three-point shooting team again. And then defensively, I think you go out and you look at these guys, and they maybe didn't add a bunch of like positional size and true length. And like right now, Greer is the only true like wing on the roster. You got a lot of forwards and a lot of smaller guards, and he's kind of the one connecting piece. But you got Davis as a guy coming from San Diego State. He can really get after it at the point of attack, and that's something they didn't have last year. And then Enos, obviously, it was Division II, but he was Defensive Player of the Year as a sophomore there at Lincoln Memorial. And I don't think that translates to being an all-conference defender at the Division I level, but it does show that, like, hey, he can hold his own on defense, and at least he knows what to do on that end of the floor and can, I think, fit into a quality team defense. I mean, we've seen Green's pretty tough. We'll see kind of how McAndrew bounces back from last year, but I think we'll see some 3-guard lineups too, where they're just going to get up and pressure more and try to force turnovers much more than Kraton has in the past. that wasn't necessarily something that Huss's High Point teams did previously. But I do know it's something that they're going to try this year and make that part of their identity so they can get out and transition and not necessarily have to rely on half court execution every single time where that point guard question becomes bigger.
It'll look and feel a little bit different. That's for sure. But the pieces look like they're almost all there. Jacob Bedell from Herd Ad Sports. All right, Jacob, we will let you go. Enjoy the day and night of basketball as always. Have a good rest of your week.
All right, appreciate it. Talk to you guys later.
Jacob Padilla from Herd at Sports. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We have our bracket sim and some late portal Nebraska ball news after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, one or two things left here on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Don't forget to check out all of our online contests going on right now, including many, many concerts or / shows. I see 6 of them right now, and you could enter to win any of them at 1620thezone.com. Any or all, I should say. I apologize. I never learned how to pronounce his name, but Oogie Baboogie is in the transfer portal for Nebraska. I think he got in just in the nick of time last night. I think portal closed last night. Is that right?
Yeah, it basically last night, but they had to get it in by like 10 a.m. today.
Okay.
More or less.
There you
I
go.
think.
Well, he's in there. So good luck. What happened? Anything you know about with Oogie?
I mean, there's no way Nebraska could reliably bring back a guy, pay any money to keep a guy who played one game for you this year. I mean,
you could bring him back, but not at cost.
He wanted to be paid, and they're like, we already paid you. That's my assumption based on conversations that have happened.
Yeah.
And it was always going this route. And he said he wanted to come back. If he was coming back, he was coming back essentially as a walk-on. Like there was not going to be anything extra for him. And so, I mean, he can probably get someone to pay him, and then magically he will be available to play. So, because he probably will have more of the role that was envisioned than the one that he was going to have. I mean, these are just theories, but I think they come from
very interesting, very particular theories.
Yeah. I think they come from places that might have some accuracy.
Bracket sim of the day. Let's go to the projected current bracket from pairratings.com, which does have Nebraska baseball hosting a regional. Wow, this is an interesting one. Look at now, thumbs up or thumbs down to this guy. Nebraska is the number 1 seed in the Lincoln Regional, the number 8 national seed, which is, I mean, that's crazy.
I mean, one of those things like they're just winning out, right?
Yeah, I guess. But this is this is the current bracket. So like this is if this postseason if the season ended today.
That seems a little high.
Feels a little high. Well, whatever. Hosting Jacksonville State, UAB, and Florida Gulf Coast.
Yes.
It's like an automatic bye to the Super Regional.
I don't know if it's that, but like there's certainly teams that are less scary in that region than previous iterations.
Let's sim it up. Nebraska has advanced out of the regional, where they will host a super, and they will play Mississippi State, who wins.
I don't know. We only wanted to just host the region.
Kraton went to the Norman region, where they lost to Kansas.
Oh,
no. Kansas got their revenge off Kraton from last year. This is terrible. Kansas went to the Super Regional and lost to North Carolina. Somehow Boston College made the College World Series. Somehow USC made the College World Series. What a sim.
Not with that pitching.
This is a great bracket sim. This would be a Connor World Series.
Who won the World Series?
Georgia Tech with their
Over?
900 home runs
Looks
beat
like
North Carolina.
Yeah, looks like North Carolina.
All right, now let's go to the projected bracket sim
Okay.
of the day. The projected bracket, we're running it. Nebraska is hosting the Lincoln Regional, where they host Kentucky, Missouri State, and Florida Gulf Coast.
Okay.
And they advance into the Super, where they will not host. They will have to go back to the Plains, back to Auburn, where they yet again lose 2 out of 3 and do not advance to the College World Series.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
Kraton was sent to Oxford, where they played Mississippi, Ole Miss, and did not make it out. But a region with Ole Miss, USC, and High Point.
Look at that.
Look at that, Al Huss.
So, have we had a sim yet where Kraton has made it out of a region?
I don't believe so. No.
It'd be
I'm
tough.
going to try and hammer the button 17 more times and see if I can get one to go. Also, I'm going to create.
It's like you snuck it through somehow.
I'm going to create our very whimsical region that we
like
created
this.
earlier. You can do one on this website where you could literally build a bracket.
Wow.
And so I want to create the region. Should we make it in Lincoln? Do you want to make it in Lincoln, or do you want to make it in Lawrence?
Do you wait and see who wins tonight and then base it off
Okay.
of that?
Yes. I'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
Where I create the region made up of whoever wins the game tonight is the 1 seed and it's hosting at their place. Then whoever loses the game tonight is the 2. Kraton's the 3, and Omaha's the 4.
Okay.
And we create the, I don't even know what there'd be too much media for the ballparks to contain. You'd have to play this at the Chuck Box.
I cannot imagine the annoyance on just Bruntz's face of
He'd be
how
so
many
mad.
people would be there.
He's usually the only person covering Husker
It's
baseball.
him, it's Evan Bland, some TV reporters,
Yeah.
and a
Tops.
few others.
Tops.
Yeah.
And could you imagine if they were all in a regional together? It'd be bad.
A lot of people.
You'd have to get familiar with some old friends. All right. That is going to do it for us today on the show. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Let's do a crossover with our dear friend, young Matt, coming up next.